doesn't give you closure, but thus gives you the best possible closure, in my opinion. But you didn't really have to go back. I'm feeling as if the impetus for it really must have just been that his kid got to that age where they're like, hey, yo, you look kind of like him. You look like your dad. We can do something with this. Reminiscent of when Tarantino was like, we got to wait for that girl to grow up so that we can do Kill Bill Volume 4, where she comes back and she's getting revenge on the bride, the daughter of Vivica Fox, you know?
Didn't that just not happen?
No, of course it didn't.
Yeah.
It totally, no, nothing, no, never. That's another one of those.
Excellent plan where you have this long form plan for a movie and then you just don't do it. That's a good way to do it. Yeah, good one.
So, you know, but it kind of reminds me of that in terms of, like, there was somebody who, like, was the right age to do the project that we want to do now, so we did it. And they also brought in Punisher, Walking Dead man, John Bernthal.
Oh, John Bernthal.
Yeah, they brought him in.
I like John Bernthal.
Yeah, he came in to play Tony's dad. So,
oh yeah, okay.
You know, okay. you could see that. Yeah, in the end, you know, like I said, if you're a fan of The Sopranos, I feel like it's like, yeah, watch it to get the little nods here and there and the extra little juice. But if you're not a fan of The Sopranos, or you just are looking for, like, hey, I just want to see a mobster movie, don't even look.
Let me ask you a question.
Don't even gabagool.
Is the movie about how we're all criminals but we're family?
At the end of the day, Weez is the Sopranos.
I dude, like, as it's a weird state because I've watched tons of mobster movies with my dad because he watches a bunch of them. I fucking hate them so much.
Okay,
and
I love
like
them.
It might be my most misunderstood genre ever.
Yeah.
And the way that I always go to it is I saw Goodfellas and I saw Casino.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Joe Pesci is literally playing the exact same character in both movies.
He's pretty close.
What is this genre?
Yeah.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah. Which is why he gets to do something completely different for The Irishman. But no, to answer your question, not at all. That's not the thesis statement. You're thinking of Fast and the Furious.
Oh yeah, I guess I am. I guess it is.
You know, at the end of the day, that's where it's all about family. But but no, Sopranos is not about family at all. If Sopranos is about bad men feeling bad about doing bad things and needing someone to talk to.
Okay.
That's what they actually drop as the leitmotif. You know. Yeah, that's Many Saints of Newark. Oh, also. Oh,
yeah, I want to point out, because I see a lot of people pointing out that I'm a huge fan of the Yakuza series, and I hate Italian crime movies. The reason why I love the Yakuza series is for stuff like rubber bullets and secret Koreans, not any of the internalized Yakuza crime family shit. That stuff's stupid.
I almost forgot to mention that it takes place during the Newark race riots back in the day, 67.
Wait, Newark had race riots?
It sure did.
With the Italians?
With the black people.
Okay.
And there was a whole thing that went down, and at some point the National Guard came in and people got shot. It was a super crazy fucked up time. So it takes place right in the middle of that kind of chaos. And some of the setup for that They also, like, again, they did reference it in the show as well, and like they have a bunch of stuff from the past, or they're like they reference the fact that they used to work with like black gangsters and shit. So you get to see some of that in this, though it is interesting in that like they're working with like some like a black dude and like a black street crew, and they're involved in doing their own sort of thing, and they have a little subplot, but like they do not like the people who are working with them, based on every other mob movie, how people would refer to these black gangsters at the time, whether they were or were not around. And this was a very inaccurate depiction.
Oh, really? Like they're nice?
They're definitely not dropping it as much as you'd expect, except for when one of them does something that really, really bothers the other guy. Then he gets real mad at that. You know, he crosses a line, so to speak, that you should never cross by, hooking up with a white lady, God forbid. But that's when the N-bombs get dropped. But
we can't have any of that.
Yeah, but prior to that, I'm just like, oh, there's going to be like 8 of them flying in this scene, right? Where like he walks in and they talk a little guff, and it's like, no, they're keeping it kind of polite and civil. And I'm like,
1960s gangsters, Italian-American gangsters from New Jersey, well known for their class.
Yeah.
And
not
candor.
They did make a Sicily reference, but it wasn't full-on True Romance,
Now, to be fair, this was prior to the invention of the gamer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible that might have had an effect.
Also, if anyone's a fan, Joey Diaz is in it, and he gets to sit there and be his old grumbly self. And you're like, yep, that's Uncle Joey right there. So, and he says, yeah, exactly. Instead of saying Sicily, he says, oh, Sicilian. I'm Sicilian, is the way he says it. So. Anyway, yeah, Many Saints in Newark. The other thing was we had some fighting games go down, one of which, I talked about Melty Blood before.
Did you play 4 in one day?
3.
Okay.
Yeah, I played.
I was looking for your Dread broadcast, and I saw your fighting games thing. I was like, "What the hell? How many of those did you play?"
Yeah, so I played Footsies, a really cool game by High Fight on Twitter.
I love Footsies.
I highly recommend everybody check that out, and give him a follow as well. It's one of the best Twitter follows for fighting games. High Fight just makes HIFIGHT. He just tweets really great footage from fighting games, and he also made a game that's all about playing footsies. So you're both like a little kind of stick figure Ryu, and you can do basically like a crouching short kind of kick, a crouching forward actually. You can do a knee, and then you can do like a couple other specials like a donkey kick and an uppercut. But the whole game is like one hit with into one confirm into like a special move and you're dead. So no jumping, just walking back and forth and playing footsies. It's really fun.
It's all neutral.
All neutral. Teaches you how to play. And then the training mode actually teaches you how to confirm and how to practice, like, recognizing whether you hit or whether the thing was blocked, and then not following up with a special move if it was blocked, So that's great. Nickelodeon All-Stars Battle. That's what we popped in. 4-player.
How is it?
Smash game by Ludosity, a.k.a. the Slap Team, who made Slap City. It is... it feels fun. The animations are rough. And it's missing something really crucial to the flavor, which is voice acting for all these characters.
Oh, man.
So, All-Star Brawl NASB, as it's being called, Nick All-Star Brawl, is got, you know, we touched on it a little before. It's got like Korra and Avatar and, you know, SpongeBob, Patrick, Ninja Turtles, all that stuff. They're all there. And you're like, it's cool to see them there and it's cool to see the stages, but there's just a little thing where like, there's no voices whatsoever, and you're like, they would add so much to this game, you know, to hear Aang talking shit, you know, to hear whatever,
Turtles yelling cowbunga and all that shit.
Powdered Toast Man, you know, Ren and Stimpy, Cat Dog, like, you're just not getting any of that stuff, and it clearly just wasn't given the budget for it. And yeah, the music as well, definitely, like, it's like, it would need a lot more money to license out that stuff, but it would be so much better if it did. So it's missing that, and that takes away some of the impact. The other thing that takes away from the impact is the impact itself. Every hit
it just doesn't
feels
have the same...
soft. It doesn't,
no!
It doesn't have oomph. It doesn't have impact. It doesn't have that you know, that juice. And you know that feeling when you like land the final like KO smash on somebody, where the screen goes
heavy as shit.
You know, like that thing, that is nowhere to be found, and nothing like it. Everything just kind of doesn't have a lot of oomph to it. No pizzazz. So that needs to be addressed for sure. Change the sound effects, add a little bit more hit stop to things. You know, you can address that. And then, yeah, the animations are really sudden, and then they're kind of over, and attacks don't hit in a way where you're like, you see the wind up, you see the hit, and then the follow through. You know, I'm thinking of like DDD's hammer or something like that. Like, you don't get that feeling, or any of the Fire Emblem, like bam, and then it's the impact and then the follow through. Things just kind of go right to their final keyframed state. Every time, and then very quickly revert back to normal. So
it sounds like PlayStation All-Stars.
It sounds like they had a limited budget, and I believe that, you know. But what they did do was make a platform fighter that, you know, legitimately has fun stuff in it. It feels good. It feels fun to play. The tech is cool. Like it feels. Like it's, you know, they immediately did try to make it, like, have a little competitive angle to it. And I believe Nickelodeon told them to try to design it for that. So, yeah, it right away, the gameplay feels fun. And they actually had a stream where the developer was saying, this is the first version of the game. Break it fucking open. Don't worry about balance. Who cares? Just have fun.
Ooh,
crack
that's
it.
nice. I like that.
You know? So that's a good philosophy to have, yeah. And you know, there's Spobbling clips came out. You had SpongeBob wobbles. You know, you have all kinds of stuff going on with it. That you know,
Did you just say Spobbling to me?
I did say Spobbling. Learn the terminology.
Ooh.
Get with the times.
That's horrible.
They have all kinds of shit going on, and I end up gravitating towards Reptar. I really like Reptar. He's a nice, like, he's got like a bit of a warlock punch going on with like a charged fire breath thing that feels really good. But yeah, in the end, you know, it's these little aesthetic things that I feel like it's gonna not be as much of a hit as it could be just on a spectator level. But in terms of like how, you know, the legitimacy of the gameplay, it's there, and it does have rollback. And if you get it on, I think if you get it on PC, you're getting 4-player rollback, and if you're getting it on consoles, I think it's 2-player only.
Oh wow, that's interesting. That's actually different.
Yeah. So I know that Rivals of Aether like figured out the 4-player rollback thing and got that going, but it's different for depending on which version of the game you get here. But yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Is a game that has the bones are solid, the bones are quality, but you know, it's lacking the skin. And I feel as if some extra time, some extra money. I know DLC is coming. They can polish it up a bit more, but damn if it wouldn't like become way better with just some animation tweaking, impact, and voice acting. Voice acting and music would be huge. Maybe if it manages to, I don't know.
I just assumed they would have at least some voice acting, just like in Barks or something.
Even sound-alikes, even sound-alikes. You just have someone come in and do their best SpongeBob impression or something, for the laughter or whatever. But no, everyone's dead silent. Everyone, yeah, you would, it's but weird. Ideal world. They'd spend the money to contact everybody and just have them come in and do some reads for a day, So that's Nick All-Stars Brawl, and I definitely also feels like the kind of game where, for me at least, I'm even though I played it with the Xbox controller and it was fine, I feel yeah, I could play the GameCube controller for this and have a little bit of that Smash vibe. It feels like it would fit right in. One major thing that is different about it too is there's no rolling out of a block to this left or right.
Oh, so what do?
You either perfect guard or don't be there.
Okay.
Yeah. There's also a little RPS system with the attacks too, where highs beat mids, mids beat lows, lows beat highs. So you can do a little bit of that too. But yeah, no, it's that on its own makes a huge difference, because in Smash, so much of what you're seeing is people rolling, spot dodging, and wave dashing out of the way. And in this case, you can wave dash, but you can't do the other two. So yeah, that's that. And then, of course, there was Metroid Dread, which I spontaneously decided to play, and just fucking spent my whole Sunday just going at it.
I was really happy for you because I saw you played it a ton, so I assume you like it. But at the same time, I'm legitimately disappointed because when I was streaming it the other day and saw that you had not streamed it already, I was super excited to come onto this podcast and be like, oh man, I can't believe that I'm the bigger Metroid fan on this podcast.
Oh.
And be a smug little shit about it. And then
well, I'm sorry that I took that away from you.
You took it away from me, so that's not cool.
Well,
shame on you.
Yeah,
But
shame on me.
Yo, that game's really good.
It's fucking great.
It's highly excellent.
I really, really am happy that they built off of what they did with Samus Returns, which I was saying was really good. And it's already better, for sure, And that feels really exciting to me, because it's yay, there's a modern Metroid game. It takes the great shit we got with Samus Returns, and now it's on Switch, and here we can make these games again, we don't have to sit and wait forever, because you've got a existing thing here. It really also just does a lot of things that we're gonna have to see where it lands at the end of the day, but right now it's on a track to fucking do amazingly well compared to things in my brain Fusion, Super Metroid, Zero Mission.
Sales-wise?
No, in terms of just how fucking good it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw a lot of people that would have a much better experience than I have, because I have honestly never played and finished a 2D Metroid game, saying that this is their favorite so far.
It's really, really good so far, and depending on how it closes out, I could see myself saying that, just based on what we've gotten. I mean, for sure, I'll say this: one, it's just starts out, we pick back up, and we're just giving you straight story, and it's doing something that previous games never really decided to commit to, which is actually getting into the Chozo for reals, in terms of backstory.
It's funny because Samus lands on the planet that has maybe a bad mutant on it, like always, And as somebody who has only played the Prime games and knows about, you know, tertiary stuff here or there, I think the first thing out is that a fucking Chozo?
So you get to see.
I thought they were dead.
You get we've spent this whole series with like, the lost lore of this like missing, nearly extinct, who knows, tribe that raised her. And you're like, yeah, well, I guess we'll see a bunch of statues and maybe catch some lore. And then it's like, nah, we're in it. We're doing it. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Here's what are people calling it? Birdgill?
Burgill.
Burgill
Is what I was hearing, yes. Yeah.
Kicks the shit out of her.
So, start the game, and you immediately get what I'm saying is the best reason of any Metroid game for Samus to lose her powers.
Oh, just beats it out of her.
Yeah.
You didn't walk into an energy trap and they all fell out, and you didn't get hit by Dark Samus's grapple beam and she just stole your whole suit.
You got your shit wrecked.
Fucking ass beating.
Yeah. So that's cool. The flow is great. It's a really it's interesting to see how, like, even though like Metroid Returns took liberties versus like the original game that it came from on the Game Boy, like in here they've designed a new map entirely, and it's interesting how it lets you explore, but it gates you in a way that is pretty aggressive by some other games comparisons, but you do kind of like have these moments of like teleporting back to a previous area, and you're like, oh, am I in the full area? And it's like, no, it's just a section of it, but it leads you down to this pathway, and then you kind of explore your way back, and it felt good. It felt good. I didn't mind it at all. I like the parry system is, they built on top of it and made it a much more crucial and interesting thing here that legitimately is like, it's a huge part of the gameplay. It's exciting how they've implemented it. The dread stuff where you're being stalked by the Emmys is really cool.
Hey, congrats on parrying the first Emmy.
Yeah. I didn't realize what was happening, but the first one I parried it like fast enough that the tutorial didn't pop up, so I didn't know there was a tutorial. And then right after that is the real encounter, and then on the real encounter I parried it the first time too as well, like, and just went about it. And I'm like, and then I only found out after the fact that it was like, oh, that's a just frame thing apparently.
Those parries are within 2 or 3 frames tops. They're very difficult.
Had no idea.
Guess you play a lot of Twitch fighting games, maybe.
So what's cool is then the others that you fight have their own different timings, so they're not all universal.
Every single different animation, yeah.
So you can't just be like, okay, I've gotten it down and it's not a threat anymore. And the game tells you to embrace helplessness, because, like, let's face it, like, if you're, I don't know, having a really hard time with this game and you've got to review it for a website, you might not like the short parry window that you get.
Most people are not going to be able to hit those.
What's really cool is that, like, it's one of those, oh God, what am I thinking of? There's a game where I'm thinking of something where, like, you're about to go down, and then you can, sometimes there's a rare chance of you getting back up. But it's like one of those things where you're like, oh shit, it's a pop-off. I didn't expect it to land, So, I can't remember the exact dialogue, but I'm picturing some game where there's a, but there's a thing like that. But anyway,
so you mentioned it being like not, I don't know what the specific phrase you use, but not like kind of gated off, where it like funnels you towards certain areas depending on your upgrade path. I do know that there is old-fashioned sequence breaking remaining in the game, because in the Kraid boss fight, I found a part of the boss fight that I didn't have the item for.
Okay.
Did you notice that there's a bomb, like a morph ball bomb sequence in the Kraid boss fight?
I didn't.
So if you rocket the bottom left square of the arena, it's actually like a morph ball like bomb location, and that lets you skip the boss fight.
Wow. Okay.
But I don't know how to get the bomb before getting to Kraid.
So what I do like is Metroid, because of, you know, the sequence breaking of the earliest games, it has now become part of the identity of the franchise.
Yeah.
And now they're building them with that kind of stuff in mind. And you're seeing...
Gotta Go Fast has been absolutely a fucking
intentional
hallmark of that series.
Yeah, intentional sequence breaking routes is pretty fun to see implemented, you know? So, something really cool too that's great is like I ended up missing some of them, but I much like Metroid Returns, there's moments where in these boss fights where if you hit that parry button, you're getting a nice little sequence, you know?
Oh, you missed it? Oh, it was so cool. Oh, man.
Because you gotta land that deflect right as the particular attack. There's usually like one attack that you're looking for to get it. You know, most bosses have. So yeah, that's really great. There's when it comes to like just like Samus and then, you know, the character and everything, it's like she's narrating it, she's playing it straight. That's all dope. Adam is there. Adam is voiced as a robot voice, so they kind of are like, it's not the voice of Adam. It's
Can you explain that to me a little bit?
Sure.
Why did so Adam's dead?
Yes,
but he's a robot.
There's an AI that Samus relies on to, like, you know, guide her and act as her like CEO, and it uses Adam's it uses her memories of Adam as its personality because he's a figure of authority.
Oh, okay.
So Fusion establishes this AI, and it's what talks to her, and it explains.
So that's why he calls her lady in the intro.
Any objections?
Well,
lady.
The robot does
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's exactly. So that they basically just continued the Fusion storyline with her having that. And when she's on the elevators, she's talking about it, and you go into the room, the save rooms, and then he kind of like talks to you and updates you and shit. In this case, you're getting a voice to that, and it's much more robotic. So it's like, okay, that's cool. It's doing its own thing, and the attitude they're giving Samus, at least in terms of what minimal moments there are, is so fucking sick at times. There's two moments in particular that are fucking great. The first
the
boss,
end of both boss fights.
The end of the first boss fight is like, there's a moment of just like the boss freaking the fuck out in the camera in the foreground, and then focus shift to the background, and Samus just standing casually looking at the boss writhing on the ground, and then casually just takes 2 steps to the left and starts charging the Buster, you know? And you're like, that's it. That little stand and walk is everything I fucking want.
It's the best.
It's such a clean moment, you know? Just the stare at the fucking thing, you know? And then the second one is later on in the game when she says something. You hear her speak up.
Oh, she does in fact speak.
And she says some shit in a way that makes you go, yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Does she call the Birdman a motherfucker?
Not quite.
Okay.
Not quite. But when she does speak, it's in a way, and it's doing a thing that is really like, hey, that's great, you know? So, yeah, I like what they've established with this character so far, and this is what we want. This is what we enjoy. The closest thing to a complaint that I have, and it's it like, I know that there's some people that don't like the elevator loading. I love the elevator loading because Metroid Prime
it's gonna be a loading screen no matter what.
Metroid Prime made me fall in love with elevator loading. It just, to me, I like that. I like we're going to the next area. You know, let's take a moment. I'm totally down. the closest thing to a complaint I have, and it's so minor, but it's just Samus Returns, you had to really accept and get used to the fact that this is now a 3D platform shooter. This is now a 3D like Metroid game. It is not as tightly gridded as previous other games were. It is going to require you to play with the analog stick. It's going to require you to aim in diagonal, awkward angles and directions and learn to shoot in a perfect 360. And I talked about this, I think, when I first played Samus Returns, but it's just a very different thing to add. You know, it's an element of a shadow complex or so that gets tossed into a game that used to be like you shoot in the cardinal directions, you move in the cardinal directions, and you don't have to worry about anything in between. You know?
I didn't even notice that, but to be fair, my experience with the older ones is almost zero.
Yeah, you would only shoot up or diagonal or straight forward, you know, and like that was kind of, and the game would be in these little gridded squares. Every room was a grid, everything, and it still is, you know, but fighting enemies, you're in these games you're fighting them at angles that you otherwise never had to, you know, in a way. And it's not bad. Like, I've gotten used to it and I like it, and the parry makes it fun. But it is just like, okay, you have to accept a different thing happening with the series, and that's okay. That's how it gets brought into the future, because they're not just going to make Fusion, you know, again and just make it like the same kind of sprite-based thing. Like, I realize the time for that, unfortunately, is behind us, and sprites are, you know, gone the way they're gone, and I get it. With that comes the fact that we're not going to let you play with the D-pad, because you need to angle the stick at little in-between areas, you know?
Yeah, like at 60 degrees instead of 45.
Sometimes you need to not be at 9 o'clock or at, you know, 11 o'clock. You need to be at 10, you know? So that is just a new thing, and you know, it's just a reminder, because it still felt fine in Samus Returns, and it feels good here. But I do automatically move my finger towards the D-pad to play Metroid games, and in this case it's like, nope, this is what it is, you know, get used to it.
It's the analog future forever.
They also had a very interesting way of distributing items in the beginning of the game here, because
so that's what I've been sitting on this thought for a few minutes. Most of my experience with the Prime games, but I'm under the assumption this is the case. I could not believe how long it took me to get the morph ball.
Wild. They were wild about their decision there, because they wanted you to like know that you're supposed to get it and see all these places to use it, but instead let's give you a bunch of other rad shit. Dear fucking God, when I got that shift, like, I
just got that when I ended my stream. That was the last item that I picked up, and it was like, oh, okay.
I'm like, I didn't know it was my birthday. I didn't realize, you know, but apparently Mercury Steam, you know, realized it was my birthday, because that's a fucking like feel good button.
Step.
It's a flash step button, and it just feels good. And it encourages you to abuse it, because it comes back quickly and you can do
right
3 in a row. You know?
I remember beating up one of the Emmys, and I'm like, oh, sick, I'm gonna get the morph ball. And it's like, no, turn invisible. What? When am I gonna get the ball? I'm looking at a fucking little tiny ball corridor on screen right now. Give me the ball.
And I know that, like, I know people have made comparisons, because they're like, yo, we got Parry Royal Guard, we got Trickster on the dash. But to me, I look at that flash step, and I see bomb dashing from Smash Brothers, and I would not be surprised if that played some role in at least the idea or inspiration, because with Samus and Smash, on a flat surface, you can use bombs to make her, while standing still, slide all the way across the surface of the stage, you know? So, I don't know if that was the inspiration, but if it was, like, I would not be surprised. It's a fucking cool ass new ability they put in this game, and it feels great immediately. And I kind of, I'm like, yeah, we'll get to the morph ball eventually. I'm gonna just do this around the stage for a bit, So that feels great. And everything they're giving you is like, yeah, you'll get to the morph ball. Here, try this out. Try this new suit out. Do you like the white trim? You like the highlights? Check it out.
It's nice.
Looks good.
Once I got the various suit, I'm like, I kind of want to go back to the green and white.
I'm loving both of the suits we got in this right off the bat. Like, yeah, the white looks clean, and I think that's also them realizing so many people fucking love the light suit from Prime 2.
Best, dude.
It's so clean and good. It's so awesome that everyone went like, yeah, more of that, please. So you got that sort of inspiration. One thing I know is not here, and I wish there was some way. Well, there's a couple ways they could have done it, but one of the best parts about Prime is the scanning and the lore.
Oh, there's no way.
This game...
How would you even do that?
Don't scan. Just don't scan. Have it, when you first kill something, let it enter a codex. Because I would like the ability to go and just read a little bit more about the alien life and stuff, because that stuff's really fun. It's a nice little flavor that these games, you get to have it in Prime, and like some of the scans are like really interesting, like mise-en-scène storytelling. You come across an abandoned base and everything went wrong, and you get to look at the logs and see what the space pirates were doing and how they fucked up. And in this case, I wouldn't want a stop and scan system, because it's not, 2D Metroid doesn't call for that, much less 2.5D Metroid. But a little bestiary or a monster's manual, for like whatever you encounter would be a nice, cool little thing to read about.
I guess it doesn't seem like, maybe it's because of the Prime series, but like what is that? It's a bug.
Yeah. But
it's a planet bug on ZMR or whatever it is.
I mean, think about...
It's dead now.
Well, that's what about it amounts to in Returnal, right? But it's still a fun little thing. I like going into the Returnal things and just reading the descriptions about the little animals and the redacted info and stuff. It's interesting. So that's great. And then of course there's the titular Dread, right? There's the design that was supposed to be a part of the game from fucking however many decades ago, where they were like, let's design a game built around these SAX encounters, Like, we want to have Samus being hunted, and like, you have to deal with that as a persistent threat. So those feel really fun. You have to use your tools. And there's little things that like are not evident right away, but only when you start unlocking other types of doors and shit, you realize like, oh, these doors take a couple seconds to open. So when you're panicking, that's not you're fucked, right?
Or for example, what's it called? The step, this horizontal. Yep. Like there's a bunch of
pressure
doors
gate
that always close on me, and I'm like, oh, those are just to fuck with me. It's like, oh no, those are great to get away from the speed Emmy when I run into them later.
Right. So you can, and the cutscenes actually like show you examples of what you can do with it. But like, yeah, you can fuck yourself by stepping on it, or you can clear it and then use it to put a wall up, so that's great. You've got little things like the sounds you make that you have to pay attention to, the little tracking system that shows you like, oh, you're being loud right now. It's in the yellow. It's looking around, like that stuff's fun.
I gotta say, I love. It's funny because before the game came out, I saw a lot, before I played it, I saw a lot of people just hard complaining about the difficulty on the boss fights, and more than that, I saw people like furious with the Emmy sections, saying they would just bang their head against them until they found out the perfect path they had to go to bypass the sections. And then when I got to them, I'm like, it doesn't feel like that at all. Like,
yeah, no,
I felt very confident in most situations getting away from them or like looping them around or what have you. And yeah, I died like, I don't know, I think the third Emmy that I think I died like 15 times in a row or something, and it took me all of 12 minutes to get through that section because the checkpoint's right outside the door.
Yeah, no, I didn't find that wasn't bad at all. I didn't find my struggle is because my aim is really rough. Like holding the stick at the right angle to get the Omega shots off.
Right.
You know, while it's walking forward is where I struggle. But like, you give it another shot. You know, no big deal. It's fun that like it's persistent and that you can fuck up in these ways, and you know it's coming at you really quick. Like you gotta do your best tight wall jumps. You gotta troll it a little bit sometimes. You know. Especially if you're trying to you're like, should I get to the exit or should I explore that corner over there? And the answer is get to the fucking exit. But like,
yeah, you can explore the corner when
later. Yeah. Little mother brains hanging out, you know, all that stuff. It's really fun to just like go through this brand new game and like so far it's just a tight experience, you know?
Yeah, it's great.
So I've made it to about I think it's area 6.
Yeah, you flew past where I was.
And I got to a part where like the whole environment changed, you know, to a really cool different thing.
I have a weird issue with the way the planet is built and the way the map portrays it, because like you're going up and then like I would go to the side and a side area has an open sky.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? How the fuck am I gonna go up above this?
It's Big Mountain. Big Mountain has a side that's low mountain. You know, I'm sure the surface makes sense. There's a huge cliffside. Don't worry about it. And I
can only imagine that, like, when you go to the side on that thing, it's actually like 100 kilometers.
Maybe.
Like it's,
but what's
really far.
And what's really cool is like in that you know, when you look at that, like, oh, I can see the sky kind of thing, just peeking through the background. It's very, very subtle, but like the way it looks, the colors, and some of what you're hearing are like, this is like those surface daytime areas in Prime. You know, you're hitting that kind of environment, so you're getting some of those similar feelings as well. But yeah, I got to a part where like, yeah, the whole environment, like texture, for lack of a better word, just all changed.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, some rad shit started happening, and then I was like, I'm tired, I gotta go, because you know I need some sleep. So. I wrapped it up right as shit was popping off again. So, you know, the rate of like just doing Metroid justice and bringing in fun shit and just all of it, man. It's an incredible game so far. Easily, I can recommend it if you've been thinking about it. You know, we'll just have to see how it sticks to landing.
I am absolutely amazed that the same people who made Lords of Shadow 2 and Mirror of Fate made this game.
Does it make what I was saying about Samus Returns make more sense now?
Yeah, but it doesn't make me less incredulous. It doesn't hit me with less incredulity. It's still like, why are they so bad at this very similar genre and so much better at this one?
Well, I put a theory out, right? And because it's like, for whatever it was, like, you know, Samus Returns was the blueprint that brought us this game. And I think it's the Nintendo breath on the back of their necks heavily breathing and making sure that whatever the fuck they do is going through approvals, and possibly they're getting yelled at about helmets. You know,
maybe.
I think it's Nintendo breathing on the back of their neck, probably, to make sure that they don't fuck up. That's my guess.
It's just wild because like everything they made with Castlevania was like complete garbage. and now they've been gone over to Metroid, and it's great. And all I can think of is I would give a finger to reverse that situation right now.
I feel as well. Yeah, and well, I mean, I know as you said you've always bounced off Metroid, but this is the first one that like you're enjoying, right?
Yeah, my main issue with because I'd only try of the 2D Metroids, I'd only tried Super Metroid, and my main issue with Super Metroid is that I hate the way that it controls. I don't feel good running around and jumping and shooting, which playing this game is not a problem that I have, because running around and jumping and shooting in this game fucking rules. It's great.
Okay. Well, because I hear you on the reversal of that situation, and I couldn't fucking disagree more. Because like 2D Metroid being good, but the only reason why it wasn't really, you know, popping off is because it was always just handheld. You know, it was like Fusion was an amazing game that was GBA. Hope you got a GBA. Zero Mission, same thing. You know, 3DS, same thing. So like now it's like, okay, we've put it all together, and the Switch is a hybrid. You know, it's handheld and it's a console. So, you know, more people are gonna take a look at this by default. It needed a full return to form. And this is absolutely
the way that I feel when I talk about the switch over is like Metroid does have good 3D games, whereas all 3D Castlevania games are complete trash. They're complete garbage. Like, holy shit. So if you switched them, we'd have good Metroid games and good Castlevania games.
Yeah, but you know, you have to imagine thinking about the, you know, how important and how draconian Nintendo is about like IP requirements and things. Like, I would love to see how much Nintendo like handed them, you know, designs, or how much they just approved what was brought, or how much they went back and forth on it. But I definitely would believe they were heavily involved. To, you know, well, when you boot the game up, I didn't see a Mercury Steam logo. You get to the title screen and it just says Nintendo 2021.
Actually, come to think of it, I remember the game booting like insanely fast.
It takes you like right to
general.
It. Yeah. You boot the game up and it just goes blah, dread, and then it just says Nintendo at the bottom. So anyway, it's a fucking incredible experience so far for anyone who has not experienced, you know, what's great about Metroid games. This is fantastic for that. And, you know, I would even say that like that intro catches you up to speed in a way that is like, you could start playing this game and enjoy it.
We killed all the Metroids. We killed all the parasites.
Now for some other shit.
Samus gets signal. Go get it.
We're going to pretend, as the Galactic Federation, we're going to pretend that we're not going to rely on Samus this time to solve the problem. God fucking damn it. Get Samus.
I feel like Metroid games, storyline-wise, like, let's all stop kidding ourselves, because the setup to every single Metroid game is exactly the same. You're flying around, and then you either get, like, a message or, like, a signal, and it says, hey, there could be something bad over here. Can you look at it? And you go, okay.
Yeah.
And it's there, and the bad thing is there.
But what you're not seeing, and what the story always, like, kind of dodges, is that, like, that's not a bounty hunter. That's the strongest thing in the universe.
Yeah.
The strongest being in the universe is casually flying around, taking these missions for pay. But, you know, it's like, get the fuck out of here. You're doing this as a gig, you know? Same for like Solid Snake doing a mission just because, oh, he was assigned to by the government, and not because he has the fucking abilities to go in and save the world every time anyways, and he's blood related to everyone involved, you know? Like, you're talking to the strongest thing in that goddamn universe. Easily, you know? Little bit of a Goku kind of feeling where you're just like, yeah, but they'll get involved for their own reasons.
Hey,
But
Goku, there's some weird bugs on this planet. Can you check out the weird bugs?
will it be a fun fight?
Yeah, probably.
All right, let's go. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Lady Goku.
But yeah, that's it. And what's going to happen this week is, since that game and maybe some other stuff, I'll take a look at I'll take a look at the schedule and see like when I can play stuff by myself, because if there's days where I'm free and Reggie's not coming in, I'll just pop on and play some shit. Whatever, fuck you.
Hey,
I don't care.
I got a question for you.
I'll play anything.
I was looking at your Dread videos, Dread session, while we were talking for some of that. I just wanted to see like some footage while we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, are you really streaming Disco Elysium twice this week?
No, that's incorrect.
That's your schedule.
Oh, on Twitch. Oh, that needs to be fixed. Okay, the Twitch schedule is wrong there. No. No, the Twitter schedule
that seems wrong.
The Twitter schedule is up to date. The Twitch schedule is wrong.
Okay.
I'll go fix that.
All right. Okay. I was just checking. Hey, if somebody wanted to see that up-to-date new Twitch schedule, where would they go?
Yeah, so twitch.tv/Wooly versus what's going to happen is pretty conveniently, Reggie's going to be busy on Tuesday. So I'll just pick up where I left off and play more Metroid. So Tuesday, I'm going to do more Metroid Dread. Might just take it to the end. I think I can do it. I think the thing too, because some people were asking me, and I pulled it out. It came out of nowhere, but like I think the right way, or at least the way that I enjoy playing Metroid the first time through, is not for speed and not for completion, just for the sake of playing. If I see something that looks cool, I'll go out of my way if I want to. If I don't want to, then I won't. But I'm just going through it and collecting whatever I feel like it. And
well, this game makes it. I don't know if there are earlier games that had this, but this game makes it like dramatically easier to grab all the hidden goodies, like giving you like a little whoop, whoop, whoop,
flashing
whoop
area. Yeah, that is a. I don't know if any purists have complained about that.
I have not seen one complain.
But that is a fucking lifesaver for completion. Just like, this grid of the area of the map is where the secret is. Go find it. Shoot walls. Grab your missiles.
Shoot floors.
Do everything. Do what you would do. But I like that, like...
I did get stuck at one point because I did not shoot one wall because I saw a way to get through the area that would have taken damage. I'm like, well, I don't have the way to not take damage yet. And I did like 3 loops of the entire game before somebody was like, just jump through the fucking lava. Just jump through the lava. Just jump through.
Okay. I fortunately didn't get stuck anywhere for long. In many cases, I would just like, run into an area, not notice the destructible floor, and then run back around the zone like once or twice, and then come back to that and be like, oh, okay, let's try shooting this floor. But that's kind of what you're supposed to do in a way, like there's moments in the game where you're like, oh, well, what now? And it's like, there's either a new area that you can go to because you just got this power, or there's a floor or a wall that you didn't blow up. And you got to get used to the lie walls and the lie floors.
Yeah, everything is a lie in the Metroid game. It's a little...
So if you're playing through it and you have those little stuck moments, don't be discouraged, because it's there's these little moments where you're meant to be like, what the fuck now, but yeah, I'm probably gonna finish that off tomorrow and see how long is left. I'm not too sure, but there's gonna be that, and then Wednesday might do something different. I don't know. I'm gonna check and see. Might do an assault party thing or not. I'll let you guys know. And then Thursday, probably gonna finish off Devil Summoner Raido 1.
Oh, really?
pretty close to the ending on that. Yeah.
Are you in the final dungeon?
I think we are.
Because that final dungeon
really cool.
Is real good.
Yeah, really cool. The concept
and you see a lot of really, really wild stuff in that dungeon.
The concept of the dungeon is very interesting and fun and it's in such an SMT-ish way that it's like with minimal like cost we've designed
very low cost.
With minimal cost, we've designed a cool final dungeon that gets you thinking. And all we had to do was just like, use the same assets over and over and have them say different things.
Yeah. It's like, hey, everybody, did you beat Raido 1? Do you want to make a bunch of flowcharts that'll annoy everyone forever? Well, here you go.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to see what they're setting up, but I'm only like 3 rooms or so into the final dungeon, so we're gonna wrap that up on Thursday.
Like I think the second game's better, but the first game's ending is so strong. Like it's excellent.
And yeah, also a rad-ass mecha design shows up in that story that I did not expect. That looks very cool. I liked it. So yeah, that'll be Metroid Dread, Devil Summoner, and then some fighting games on Saturday, as we do, over at Wooly Versus. Check it out on Twitch. And then, of course, over on YouTube, we'll continue with the episodes, as well as other stuff. We got the latest Gone in 60 Seconds dropping as well last Sunday. So go peep it, Wooly Versus. How about you?
Let's see. I played Dread. We just talked about Dread. It's good. It's a real good game. I'm worried to go back to the older Metroids now that I know that I really do like 2D Metroid and be like, well, if Metroid Dread's the best one, then isn't it all downhill from here?
No, because they're great, but the things that bothered you about Super would probably bother you in Fusion and Zero Mission as well.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
To get a similar,
not like there's a long-standing, super in-depth story that I'm missing out on.
Yeah, if you wanted more, what I would recommend to you directly would be go grab Samus Returns.
Okay.
Dust off your 3DS.
No, I would emulate that with Citra. There's no way. There's absolutely no way I'm playing a real video game on the 3DS in the year of our Lord 2021.
Okay, well, Samus Returns would give you the most similar experience, but personally, I think Fusion is a better game than that. But, your own stuff aside.
All right, so let's see. What else did I do with my week? Well, as of last night, I completed, with my wonderful fiancée, Peach Saliva, who also very much enjoyed it, we completed the Squid Game TV series on the Netflix, which is now the biggest Netflix show that has ever existed.
Has the main actor revealed that she's a huge fan of twitch.tv/angriestpat? Or Pat Stares At, excuse me.
Who? The main actor? What?
The main girl. No?
Oh. What a...
I don't know. I don't understand anything. I don't know. I haven't watched Squid Game.
What are you talking about?
There's a meme going around where a bunch of people are clipping some interview with the main character or whatever, some main girl from Squid Game, saying that when I'm not on the set or whatever, I've been thoroughly watching insert name of streamer here. I really think that
do you know what the actual quote from that interview is?
So I saw XQC was quoted or something like that, and then I just saw a bunch of other people inserting themselves into it, and then I'm like, I don't know what the original thing is at this point, but she watches some streamer and she thinks that they're what the world needs right now.
I thought the original... Hold on.
What do you?
I didn't realize that was a meme.
What are you talking about? What did you think?
Hold on. I thought the one that I saw was that she was way into like shipping Attack on Titan characters.
That's all meme. You got.
Oh no! It's memes. Oh no.
I think the first one was XQC, and then I think everything after that was just memes. And then I don't know if there is, in fact, an original article or not.
It looks... what reveals...
I saw one...
I'll have to find out the original one.
There's one where it's like, yeah, she's huge on twitch.tv/unruly, and she can't get enough of Kenny, and she thinks Kenny is what the world needs right now.
I don't think that's real.
I don't know. Anyway. Kenny says it was real. Anyway.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to move on from this intense confusion to that's a really good TV show, and you should watch it.
Also, there's that confusion with Squid Gaming, who had an Instagram account called Squid Game, and so many people bombed it trying to log in that it got banned. Well,
I legitimately thought people were talking about Splatoon when people were like, "Oh, Squid Game is so hot," and I'm like, okay.
But there's a channel called Squid Gaming that is now fighting to get their Instagram account back because unfortunate luck.
But yeah, anyway, Squid Game's great. It's super good. It's totally good all the way through. And I'm seeing some people that are not super happy with the ending. I liked it on the assumption that they're going to go with the season 2, which they will. They've already announced it. And I'm feeling, after watching the Squid Game, I feel exactly the same as I did after I watched The Westworld, which was, wow, that was great. Oh, I hope they don't ruin it with the second season.
Okay, yeah. It's been a while. It hasn't been since, I guess, Tiger King that, a series has come out and been like, oh, this is the everything discussion point. Maybe Loki for a minute. Maybe Loki.
Maybe.
But yeah, the Squid Game being everywhere feeling is real. And
it's...
I have to assume... I didn't know it was a Netflix original either. So
yeah.
That means then that there's no real winning way to get the real subtitles.
No. Well, there's the regular English subtitles are fine-ish.
But they're dub titles, that's what I was told.
No, there's...
Yeah.
The closed captioning ones are dub titles.
So the subtitles...
There's 2 English subtitles.
Oh, good. Okay.
The dub is weird. Now I'm seeing somebody ask me to talk about the awful white guy actors, which is something that I was about to bring up because it's something Paige noticed, but they're not bad actors. Say you're watching it in dub. Say you're watching the dub, right? And you're watching what are clearly Korean nationals that don't speak any English at all, right? Being dubbed over by American or British voice actors, right? And then you get to actual Westerners speaking English in the show, and they're not going to get dubbed over, right? And their performances are completely different. They sound like white people in a Tony Jaa movie. And the reason for that makes way more sense when you're watching it in Korean, because all the Western actors are hyper enunciating their English. So that the primary Korean audience has a better chance of understanding what the fuck they're saying with their subtitles.
Yeah, so I mean, Old Boy dubbed taught me about how awful dubbing can ruin an entire story or movie that has critical twists and such. But GTA live action, I think, was the last time I might have experienced the like white guy walking around for like this one bit part in an episode of something, and it's just like, oh, that's not an actor, that's just some dude that they had,
just a guy.
Someone's friend came by the set, and it's like, all right, now just say your lines, say them slowly, and make sure that you really clearly say, hey, you there, you look like a teacher, can you tell me how to find Tokyo Tower?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And there's even some Korean actors who speak English, like fluent English in the show, who their acting quality changes the instant they start to speak English because they are slowly and carefully pronouncing very enunciated English for your Korean viewer base who they made the show for. Because it's about Koreans in Korea playing Korean games. Hey, you know what? It sucks to be poor in Korea. Might as well be the real name of the show.
Are they all children's games that like we don't recognize here at all?
No. In fact, the one that they use for the trailer, and it's the first game, so I feel confident in talking about it, is straight up red light, green light.
Okay.
Which I was not aware is totally universal. Some of them I'm like, dude, I've never heard of that shit. That's definitely not from here. And some of them have no relation to children's games at all. They're just complete nonsense. Hey, what if we made an evil death game?
Okay.
But
does Quebec have any child's games that are like exclusively French Canadian? Because everything has renames, you know, like Suicide Whipper, and like every version of like we bounce the ball on the wall and catch it and then throw it at you as you touch the wall, you know.
I mean, I was sitting there and like I remember playing a fucked up version of Tag in my local neighborhood that I'm pretty sure was unique to my local neighborhood that we called Sandman, where the tagger had to close their eyes. And you played it on those playground sets with like the slide and the climby bits and all that, and so they had to run around and tag people with their eyes closed, and so you could just climb all over the shit and just get up super high. And the only rule is that if you had to like move away from them to hit the ground, they could call Sandman, and because you were on the sand, you were out. And this ended up with it was like Marco Polo blind playground tag.
Big injuries.
This thing ended up with a lot of bumps and scrapes.
Oh yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh, it fucking ruled.
Because again, like I know there's always localized renames, but like island games, you know, there's always a couple island games that I'm like, this might exist here, but I've never heard it. I know that in the islands and in island churches, you've got Indiriva Pond Bank, where everybody has to basically, there's a line. One side of the line is the river, the other side is the bank, and one person has to Simon Says you, and basically you all have to jump Indiriva, Pond Bank, Indiriva, you know, and then you have to do that, speeding up. And if
Simon Says with jumping.
Yeah, and if you fuck up, you fall out and then you get kicked out, you know, and it's that, or you got the Red Rovers, which were fantastic if you played football. That shit was awesome. All right. Well, anyway.
But show's great. All the acting is A+. It has what. If this was not a Netflix show, you would have seen, like, how do I put this? It being a Netflix show saved many people from people angrily talking about spoilers, because there is some of the most audacious episode end cuts I've ever seen in anything. there was the equivalent of like someone firing a gun to a cut to black in one of the episodes. That I could not understand. Like if this had been like a weekly syndicated thing, like arguments over that thing would have just been the whole fucking internet, and you would have been spoiled on everything, kind of thing.
I mean, live action,
literal cliffhanger.
Live action J and K dramas, from my understanding, have no qualms about being absolute garbage with end of episode cliffhangers and like just lying to you the next week about what happened. I've been told that like they just go out, they do anything at the last 5 minutes, and then when you come back next week, it's like, well, don't worry about it. Moving on.
I will say though, when y'all decide to watch it on the Netflix, don't read the episode synopsises.
No, of course not.
They are like real bad with this one. Like real bad. Like more than usual. Yeah, Squid Game good.
Okay.
I will now not talk about Squid Game until there's more Squid Game. Because everything that I want to talk about is like, can you believe that guy did that? Oh, man.
I'm hoping that there's like... It's a death game. I'm hoping for more than a death game. So, we'll see.
Let's see. What else I do? Oh, I started my Mind Goblin series on the Twitch channel where I played the Dishonored under the rule no quick loads or loads of any kind, honestly. And I came away with some more understanding about the way those Dishonored games work. One, physics does exist in those games, and if you drop somebody from a couple feet up, they just die. Which was frustrating when I dropped a target by accident and he just broke his neck on the floor. That was stressful. I almost threw up, but that's fine.
So what was your stated particular goblin with this series?
So Dishonored specifically it's a stealth game that has what is essentially a kill tracker named Chaos, which is time spotted, enemies killed, etc. Right? That has a morality effect, and will, like, if you go really high chaos, it'll change the levels to be more filled with enemies and darker, and have like a more what do you call
aggressive?
Pardon?
Aggressive?
Yeah, it'll be more aggressive, and it'll have like a darker ending.
Okay.
Right? Which to myself and many players becomes, well, you gotta ghost it. You can't kill anyone. Never get seen.
Mm-hmm.
If you do get seen, run away. You have to do the non-lethal variations on every target, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a horribly miserable way to play the game, and it's not fun. And 80-90% of that game's tools and mechanics are built around at least killing people sometimes, right?
So it's not a Human Revolution balance?
No. Human Revolution was like... So I did some digging on this. Human Revolution was built to stealth it or non-violence it, like, from the whole way through, except for those boss fights, which were made by that different company, right? Mm-hmm. And you can feel that, like your melee takedown, that's like a stealth one, is actually faster than the lethal one. You get more experience in Deus Ex Human Revolution if you do non-lethal, etc. In Dishonored, they actually made most of the game without any non-lethal options in the game at all, only to discover upon being interviewed, people would ask them like, oh, can you beat the game without killing anybody? And they were like, oh yeah, you totally can. and then added like non-lethal takedowns and such to the game.
Oh, that's a bad way to do that. Okay.
So like 80-90% of the game is like, yeah, you can totally like lethal solutions to problems. But there is a tooltip which I bring up every time I take up a screenshot of this tooltip, which is like, try not to kill anybody or you'll get a darker ending and blah blah blah.
Sure.
And
yeah.
so it is overstated, right? So going through it under the rule of no reloads caused me to immediately get spotted and have to kill people, which caused me to forget how to breathe for about 90 seconds.
In the game?
No.
Okay. I see. Okay.
And also the stat. This is probably out of like a pure design thing. This is probably the most frustrating thing. The achievement for not killing anyone doesn't count the tutorial, but at the end of the tutorial, you still get a ghost check mark or not. And the reason for that is because the tutorial has 2 guys that are killed by off-screen rats that you can't interact with, so that counts as deaths. But it's like, but yeah, so I screwed up the stealth and didn't do the quick load, and that caused me to forget how to do a breathing. And that was bad. And then a couple more of those. That was very frustrating.
Okay, are you sure? Are you sure this series is a good idea?
It's a great idea.
Okay.
And then screwed up a bunch of times. Had gotten one insanely bad situation where, upon being discovered and killing 2 to 3 guards, I alerted 2 to 3 more guards. And then upon killing them, alerted 2 to 3 more. You know, that kind of
yeah. Oh,
thing.
yeah. Dominoes.
But the absolute worst was when I non-lethally subdued and tranked the target and was literally walking towards the area to do the non-lethal ending of the level and saw an item pickup and went to place down the target to pick up the item, only for the target to slide off the ledge I was on and fall like 6 feet and hit the ground and break his neck. And a big "target killed" shows up on the screen. And I'm like,
of physics.
Even if I was not a person with OCD or some form of neuroses, most people would reload that because that's like a unintentional, legitimate accident.
Yeah, that's some bullshit.
Right? But now, I didn't. Right? I kept it going. I did not reload, which that one almost made me barf. Got real nauseous. And then I got to the end of the stage. Wait, hold on. I got to the end of the stage, and I had been seen like 10 times, and I had gotten into 5 or 6 fights where I killed everyone, and I screwed up and dropped the target, and then I get the mission complete screen, and it says 12 people killed, low chaos. And this is when I started to scream at the game in anger at how badly it characterizes its own system. Like I even got an achievement for killing a percentage of guards in the stage. And it still said, yeah, low chaos. Like, the way that it is portrayed to you is like, be careful. Be careful. Be sneaky. Don't kill anybody. But the reality of it is like, yeah, no, just you can take care of any mistake. The only way you're going to get the high chaos thing is if you just start walking forward and slashing at anyone in your way like it's an action game.
Okay. So still trying to, after you murder everybody, going back into sneaking giving you low chaos.
It's the difference between, if the Metal Gear analogy, it's the difference between getting a mountain lion and crocodile.
Sure.
Right? It's like, did you attempt to hide behind a wall and you just killed anyone who found you? Fine. Did you just walk in every room and just spray it down the instant you got in there? Then. But it's not portrayed that way. Like this whole argument about the chaos system is literally because of 2 poorly written tooltips.
So my question then is, if this entire stealth section is an afterthought that was not the way the game was designed.
Lethality. It was always designed to be stealthy.
But right, but like stealth kills, not openly like murdering people and whatnot. Sure. So, when you fuck up and you have to be lethal about it, does that then not make the game more quote unquote fun because you're playing it the way they intended you to before they thought about that tooltip?
It's weird. There's a morality thing where basically the magic man who gives you your magic powers is like, yeah, kill people, fuck shit up. And the situation becomes darker and the city gets in a worse state the more horribly mean and lethal you are to people. But the game does want you to do this shit. It wants you to fuck around and blow people up and rewire electric fences so the guards walk through them and get disintegrated and, all that shit. But it is actually just legitimately about that very first tooltip that says, like, be careful not to kill people or else you'll get a darker ending.
And because of that, you can't have fun in those moments.
And what it's not telling you is that the second mission in the game has over 100 guards in it, and that you can kill 19.9% of all people in a level and still get low chaos. So you actually have a leeway of something like 25 to 40 guards, which is absurd, which is totally absurd. And to get the high chaos ending, apparently you need to kill more than 50% of all enemy.
Okay.
And it's like, that's not what it's. I don't know if I can find it.
Well, yeah, because look, if you walk forward through Undertale, killing everything in your way, you're not gonna get the genocide ending.
Yeah.
It takes more than that. So, if you're just being lethal, and then I suppose if there's a dark ending to get, then the game's like, well, then you gotta fucking earn it. You're doing some callous shit. But like,
yeah,
is there a low chaos ending variant that is also
yes.
Okay? All right.
There's only the 2. There's the high and low. So I found the actual tutorial. Here it is. This is the entirety of this thing that surfaced to you. It just says chaos. Your actions affect the city. A high number of deaths results in more rats and weepers, different reactions from your allies, and darker final outcomes. But what is a high number of deaths is going to depend on what stealth game you're playing. And you won't know what a high number of deaths is until you reach it. Right? Like, you won't know it's a high number unless you beat the level and reach it. Okay. Which means people that really want to get it low will reach the end of every level at 0. And then we'll never know that it's actually up to like
super
30
high.
Or 40 or 50.
Are there NPCs?
Yeah, there's civvies, and if you kill a civvy, it's like it actually juices the system like really high. Okay. Guards count for way less than civvies. I was talking to somebody who had a different, even worser problem than me because they wanted to ghost it. And there's a tutorial that pops up when you get seen for the first time. And the issue with that is that when you try and ghost it on your first playthrough, what happens is every time you get seen, the tutorial pops up and you have to mash through it before you can load your game. And that was the state of their entire playthrough, is that every time they made a mistake and a character saw them, the tutorial would pop up and go, hey, you've been spotted. Here's how to deal with that, blah, 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 blah.
Okay, bad design.
And it's interesting because Dishonored 2 does not have these problems. Not nearly as much. One, people learned from Dishonored 1's bullshit. And two, they added a way to non-lethally choke people out after they've already discovered you. Basically, you parry them, and then you can choke them out from the front. But the important thing is not necessarily the specifics of my problem with the game, because those have been well documented. And it's very interesting because it really goes into three groups. One is people that can intuitively either understand or at least feel like the kind of specificity that is invisibly being put on you. There's the people like yourself who go, okay, well, I don't feel any of that shit, but I can understand why this lack of clarity can lead to this type of behavior. And then there's the third group of people who go, I don't know why you give a shit, just go through it, whatever, get whatever ending you, whatever, who gives a shit. And there's no common ground on that first and last group. There's nothing to be done. Excuse me. Paige just accidentally threw the dog's pineapple directly into the dog's face and it bounced off.
Okay.
He's fine.
Okay. I would say that you said the important part. I would disagree and say the important part is the vomiting and the not breathing. That sounds like the important part to me, because
that's the fun part of OCD, where you fight against your own ritualistic compulsions. It creates an anxiety response.
Yes. Now, I have no idea of knowing how deep your magical thinking goes. And I can only imagine.
Okay, I can tell you. Oh, actually, I'll remind you. When Paige once dried the dishes and let them sit and dry... she did the dishes once and let them sit in a dish drying rack. And she went to bed. I secretly got out of bed and rewashed all the dishes for like 2 hours and dried them to like an impeccable level of dryness.
Yes.
And when she asked why I had done that, I said, well, because the mold would have come onto the dishes and given us AIDS.
Yes, exactly. Now, but that doesn't inform because... But that doesn't inform because what I mean to say is... that could be a mild, like, that could be a mild, like, irking that makes you go do that, or a severe compulsion, but we don't know, right? What I mean is...
well, I have the other one with that.
Okay.
Which is the part where I saw the house centipede, and I thought it got into my cans. So I got up naked on my bed and just was screaming at it until it came out of the wall.
Still not getting at what I'm talking about. Because what you're describing are... problems that you fabricate and then solve. But that's not at all what I mean. What's happening here is we are seeing what occurs when you don't get to solve your problem and you don't get your way. And what I don't know, and what I don't know if you know, is what happens when you're unable to fix the thing that is wrong. So breathing and vomiting are symptoms, but what else is there? How bad can this get? Right?
That's the worst. And it doesn't correlate to the actual severity of the problem. It correlates to how much you're unable to deal with the ritual. Yeah. So a really good real life example that I'm sure everyone can actually relate to is that the last time me and Paige were in Japan with my pal Fuggins, we had gotten an Airbnb, right? And when we were leaving, we dropped a piece of luggage down the stairs, right, on the way out. And I was like, and we had to run to catch it. And it was like 5 a.m, right? And then, so we're on the way to the airport, and I'm like, well, it was my job to lock the door. And I can't remember locking the door. Can't remember. And we're on the way to the Osaka airport. with just enough time to catch our plane, and then we're getting on a 16-hour flight. There is no chance of going back to that house and fixing it. And the answer is I'm going to be really anxious for a very long time until I convince myself that, no, it's probably fine. I had to have locked it. Right?
Okay.
But that was something where I don't have the knowledge in front of me. Right? With the Dishonored thing, the reason why it was eliciting such an extreme response is that I'm holding up my keyboard right now. Literally, all I would have had to do to make the bad feeling go away is hit F9.
Yes, right. And this is...
I'm... The extreme physical reaction is not the anxiety from the event. It's the anxiety of forcing myself to not do a trivially easy action.
Correct.
That would just make it all go away.
That's the part that I'm fascinated about and I want to know is if you were not... If the kitchen was locked and you could not get in to then relieve the air-dried dishes of their mold, what happens next, right?
I would not eat off of them until I fix them.
But what if you were forced to?
No, you can't. What, you're gonna force me with a gun to eat off the dishes?
Well, yeah, okay, or like, but you know what I mean. Like what happens if you're unable to do the ritual that makes no sense to make you feel better, and like you're in an uncomfortable state, and you're forced down that road. You know, what if we Shutter Island you?
Yeah. Now, granted, I should mention that the centipede story and the dishes story are the pre-vitamin pat, so it's never gotten that bad since.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like 7 years ago, right? Yeah.
Okay.
That was a long time ago, but yeah. So there was a bizarre sense of like intense catharsis, getting to the end of that level and seeing the low chaos, as angry as it made me, because I felt like the game lied to me by implication. Because the only way to deal with exposure therapy on these kinds of ritualization things is you have to get through the whole process and see that it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
That nothing bad happened.
Mm-hmm.
So in this particular, let's use the dishes for an example, and if I wanted to break it, I would have to have eaten off the plates while upset, and then a day or 2 or 3 would have had to have passed without me feeling ill, and then I would have been able to lock in like, oh, that was not real. So I had something similar in my youth when I failed a math class in high school, where my brain said, if I don't do good on this test, I will be homeless. And there's steps in between, right? But
sure.
Right? It's
sure.
I'm just going to be the downward spiral of my schoolwork.
Yep. Uh-huh.
And et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Checks out.
And
yep,
then
makes sense.
I was so anxious that I flunked that math test. And my parents were like, do better on the next one. You just go to summer school. And I did not become homeless.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, that, evaporated on that one.
Okay.
The issue with like a game like Dishonored is really specifically, the best example is that gentleman who got stuck on that tutorial prompt, is that because they give you the little check mark at the end that says clean hands and ghost, you never actually get to see that it was fine. So when somebody told me a few weeks ago that, did you know you can kill 20% of all people in every Dishonored level and it still counts it as no chaos? I'm like, no, I thought it had to be under like 5. Because I would never have reached the end of that situation to see what the actual numbers are.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, it's the part where like the placebo starts to like again cause physical reactions that I'm like, that's so like what is the limit on that discomfort?
Oh, there's no limit. I remember seeing, I think it was a TikTok and it was this lady. It was like, haha, let me tell you what it's like with OCD. When I was driving and I came off like a dirt road and hit the pavement, you know, that bump when you go from dirt to pavement, and I wasn't paying that close attention, so I thought it was a person. So I've been just doing loop-de-loops on this block to make sure that I didn't run anyone over.
Okay.
Right? Like, it's infinite. It's infinite. I once described on this podcast many, many years ago, or maybe it was the old podcast, OCD is fun because it's this cute little game where you get to make up little rules for yourself and follow them forever. And there's no limit to how many little rules you can make for yourself. It's very distressing.
Okay.
And the creation of this series has been was basically, I don't know if I even described it. I played the Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous video game. It was like a CRPG based off like a D&D style system with a really in-depth character creator. And you rest and you regen your spells. And it took me 4, maybe 5 hours to get through like a 90-minute tutorial dungeon, because I was like auto resting after every fight and refused to use any spells. And I went through this whole thing not using a single ability and just using essentially auto attacks and just min-maxing every single goddamn encounter to the mat. And it was miserable. It was awful. I had no fun at all. I'm like, this sucks and is stupid.
Is there any, like... I mean, I know you've only done one, but it's like, do you get any kind of, like, catharsis after it's done?
Absolutely.
Like, I've confronted the beast?
100%.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like, tomorrow, I'm actually going back to Dishonored 1. I'm going to keep at it until I either beat it or feel that this particular goblin is cleansed. Right? And then I will move on to something else. I have a huge list of games that I have either been unable to enjoy or have totally dropped because of minor, not actually real problems. And one of those, actually, it wasn't one of my Mind Goblin streams. It was just me playing Mass Effect, where I had been having an ongoing argument with my chat because I had loaded in an old Mass Effect 2 save and thus started at a higher level than normal. So everyone says, put it on hardcore difficulty. It's the new normal. Okay. So I did that and would run into these tough situations in which I was not having fun. And then said, well, if I'm not going to play it on normal or hard or whatever, what's the point of even playing it? And then I read that article about that piece of shit who was like ashamed of his son for playing Miles Morales on easy. Did you see that article?
No.
Oh, it was this dude who was playing Miles Morales with his kid and banned like Roblox from the house because it wasn't teaching the fucking lessons he wanted. And the kid was playing Miles on the easiest difficulty. And so the dad's like, okay, we can try normal now. And the kid tries it on normal and beats a couple levels. And he goes, see, wasn't that fun? Wasn't that more fun when it was like harder and, you could do it? And the kid was like, yeah. And then the dad walks away and turns around and sees his kid deleting his entire save file to restart it on super, super easy because he had more fun that way. And it's like, oh, I feel resentful and like, why can't he? And I'm like, oh, okay. And I've been playing Mass Effect 3 on narrative mode since. Like that, I have always been the person like I should always play on normal or hard, because that's the way it should be played, and that's how I should get. And now I'm like, oh, fuck it, whatever. If I'm not, I'll turn it down to baby diapers. Give me my baby diaper gun. I will throw my dirty diapers at the Reapers, and I will defeat them. I don't care.
How old was the kid?
I want to say like 10 or something.
Because that makes a huge difference too. If you're being fucking Bean Dad.
It was absolutely video game Bean Dad.
Oh wow!
Video game. I'll find this article for you. Oh wow! If I type in Bean Dad video game, it's all CSB 101.
Okay.
God, what was it? Video game.
Because that's an interesting thing. Like at a certain age, he goes back and just fucking restarts it. Like fuck off. That's not what he was having fun
I might
with.
be able to find it.
Okay.
My son. The way my kid plays video games pisses me off. September 16th, 2021 at The Escapist. Yeah, this is the article.
Boo-hoo for you.
Oh man, it's got Miles Morales and Roblox. So the more choice thing isn't even that all the shit about Miles Morales. It's if given the choice, he would play Roblox, a game filled with player-made content of varying quality. Blah blah blah. But what I found most distressing was that he would just hang out in virtual playgrounds using his avatar to fall down mountainsides, dress up in costumes, or run around aimlessly in superhero-inspired worlds. I banned the play of Roblox in the house. I saw it increasing my son's sense of apathy towards meeting challenge or adversity head-on, qualities I had hoped to instill in him. And it's like, oh wow, imagine if your kid wanted to join theater.
Wow.
What a fucking asshole.
And then to broadcast this to the world, standing on a soapbox to show them the teaching moment that you just had.
And they try the teaching moment here is that it's like, well, I'll just have to deal with it, even though my son is a filthy casual, ha ha. And it's like, I don't think that's fooling anybody, dude. I don't think your shitty attempt at humor is over you saying I resent my child because he enjoys things differently than me. So I read that article, and that night turned Mass Effect to baby mode for babies. Like that goblin just got slayed for free.
Interesting.
Because spite's much stronger than whatever's going on up here. But yeah, no, I have a huge list of things for this goblin shenanigans. I got a bunch of CRPGs. What have I? Oh, hold on. What do I got in this? I got. Let's pull up this list. I got Celeste is in there.
Oh yeah, okay, right. I forgot the fucking strawberry problem.
Right. I've got the Metro games in there because you have to. Your good bullets are your money currency.
Okay.
Let's see. I got XCOM, Pathologic, Neo, and every single game from Trails, etc. Yeah, so I might throw up on stream. It's possible. I wonder how many people are showing up to these to be like, I hope he vomits.
Every single one of them.
Oh, no, come on.
This is
No, come on.
This is the content you're selling.
You would. No, nobody would do. Yeah, Subnautica's on that. Let's see. But regardless, anyway, so yeah, this week's going to be more Dishonored. I played Metroid.
Are you going to act like people are not showing up for Parf Barfs At?
I have to actually be... Wow, that's pretty good. I have to actually be legitimately very thankful as the primary reaction was something that was wholesome to the point where it made me a little uncomfortable, where I went to check the YouTube comments on the video upload, and like 95% were like, oh, wow, this is really good. Good for you, man. Oh, you did it. Oh, I'm really proud of you. And I'm like, shut up. I don't want, I'm actually kind of creeped out by this. I don't know how to handle it. It's much more positive than I'm used to on the internet.
You're overcoming your weaknesses.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll shit myself on the next one. Tune in.
That's a good... At the very least, get some X-Lax in you so that it's ready and waiting to go.
Oh, that's just a bad idea. I also played Devotion, that horror game from the Taiwan that got super banned by the China.
The one from the Taiwan, I remember.
Yeah, it's really good. It's like 3 hours long. It's really good. Not scary at all. Like, not just as somebody who has played like 500 horror games. Like, legitimately, like, not scary at all. Very creepy. Very creepy. Sad more than spooky.
And critical,
Like,
critical of the China, in some ways or whatever.
It has nothing to do with the China. It has
No?
nothing to do with the
Its
China.
content
Nope.
wasn't why it was banned?
No, the reason why it was banned was that they had like a placeholder texture that was like the PM of China is a Winnie the Pooh that somebody found.
It wasn't actual in-game content. Okay.
No, well, I mean, it was literally in the game,
but like it was yeah, okay, intended.
It was a hidden texture. The actual content of it is actually fantastic, and if I remember correctly, the reviews of it in China prior to its banning were actually very positive. No, it was just because of the Winnie the Pooh. That's it. That's pretty much it for my week. Mass Effect's. I'm like this close to finishing Mass Effect 3, and I found something new that's extra upsetting about Mass Effect 3. The final DLC they put out called Citadel, which came out long after the ending. It's like 7-8 hours long. It's like a full game as a piece of DLC, and it is so much better than everything else in that game that about every 20 minutes, all I could think of is, why isn't the rest of the game like this?
Yeah, but it's end game DLC. It's like it's the last shit they developed, right?
Yeah, except it's the last shit they developed that is canonically before the ending, so you're supposed to play... The order you're supposed to play it in is the whole game, then the best part of it, and then the shittiest part of it.
Okay. But
right?
But I just mean in the sense that it's not uncommon for the last thing they make to be the best, because that's after they figured out everything else.
Yeah, but the thing is that the reason why it's the best piece of content has nothing to do with like development chops or experience. It has to do with what it focuses on. In Citadel, you are going through a low-stakes situation with most of the cast.
Okay.
The whole rest of the game is fighting this ever-present World War III against a galactic super alien threat. And it's very serious, and it's like serious with moments of levity, and it's very dire, and it's very apocalyptic.
Okay.
Right? And Citadel is, what if there was a heist and then we had a party?
Scouring of the Shire?
No.
Not
That's
even?
the totality of the stakes.
Okay.
And all I can think of is, man, BioWare in particular has the save the world problem the worst of any developer.
Go on.
Every single BioWare game is the fate of the world or the universe or the galaxy. And they are literally all, you have to go do this titanic, like, history-shattering, important thing at these 4 areas. And then you'll go to the really important one, and then you'll go to the final really important one where you'll save the thing, right? And all the best stuff in all of their games is the stuff of, like, what if I just hung out with a bunch of criminals? Or what if we did a heist? Or what if I found this weird magic rock? And, you know, like...
the fun shit. The low-stakes shit, yeah.
Everybody wants to be Jupiter Jazz. Nobody wants to be Mushroom Samba.
But you don't get to appreciate Jupiter Jazz or episodes like that without the Mushroom Sambas.
You're right. Like, imagine if Cowboy Bebop was 22 episodes of the Mafia plotline with Vicious.
Yeah.
That's BioWare.
Yeah.
It's so fucking frustrating. And then they went to Andromeda, which is a whole new galaxy, and it was going to be a clean start. And guess what? It's the fate of that whole galaxy right away. Like, frustrating.
Yeah. You know, I remember when I was midway through Cowboy Bebop, like, I was much younger, and I remember being like, man, like, oh, when are we gonna get the next
When are you
drop?
gonna get to the story?
When's the next drop of plot? Yeah, you know, hanging on and like enjoying it on the way, but like when you see a little bit of something, you know, or you see I forget what's her name, but the lady that owns the bar, you know?
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh shit, you know, and you're excited, you're hanging on for the unexpected moments where plot shows up and kicks the door down and goes, oh fuck, it's here, plot's here. You know, we were expecting hijinks. So that's the best way to do it.
And extra crazily, Citadel has a new Kai Lang style villain in it that within literally one conversation is 1,000 times better than Kai Lang.
Okay, it can't get worse.
No, better.
Yeah, okay.
They're it's like, oh, this is what it should have been. Like, literally, this is what it should have been the whole time. And you could have even there's enough of, like, story continuance. You could have just, if you wanted to, removed Kai Lang entirely and replaced it with this
character?
way better character.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And it's so frustrating. It's crazy. Because I still have yet to fight the final Kai Lang shit fight. And I'm not looking forward to it. It's wild. It's fucking stupid. Like, Mass Effect 3 is a mess. That game is a fucking mess.
But still good.
Worth playing if you're in that far. It's like Mass Effect 1 is like a nice gradient climbing up in quality, and Mass Effect 2 is a little bumpier, and Mass Effect 3 is like the best thing that's ever been in the series, the worst thing that's ever been in the series, the best thing, the worst thing, the best thing, the worst thing, like over and over and over and over. And it's like it's quality whiplash over and over and over.
Okay.
It's wild how the ending obfuscated all this other, like, legitimate complaining about it. Like, how did I never hear about how bad Kai Lang sucked? Because people were so mad about the ending. So even if the ending would have been good, there would have still been
there's a second
almost
place
as big of a shit show
and a third
over how
thing.
bad Kai Lang sucks.
Right. Yeah, no. I never in all of these years got that last part of the sentence where it's like, but there's still good stuff here. All I heard was just all the bullshit, and then that was the end. So then I'm like, oh, I guess it's just a bad game. Yep. And I guess you just don't talk about it, you know? But, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And where's more of that?
Over at twitch.tv/PatStaresAt. Gonna be playing Dishonored, like I said. Dread, like I said. What else is on this list? Maybe finish Mass Effect? I don't know. It's really long. I'm gonna be playing a horror game called In Sound Mind, which looks interesting this week as well.
As in, like, sound of mind and body?
Yeah, but in sound mind, because you're going in people's brains.
Cool. All right. Let's...
Want to take a quick break?
Yeah, a quick pee break.
Yeah, let's go pee.
All right. Be right back. Okie doke. It's that time of the week. Let's hit some sponsors.
Boy, I sure do love our sponsors.
This week, the podcast is sponsored by Away, the suitcase brand, the modern lifestyle brand for traveling and for packing your shit into a small space so that you can pack more shit you don't need. Talked about him not too long ago, but you know, it's the same old thing. It's the suitcase I've been using for the last decade now, and it's been a sturdy-ass, reliable traveling companion the entire time. And you know that thing where you're like packing more clothes than you actually need? Where you're like,
yeah, man, in case you shit your pants.
Well, you always got to have your backups, right? So you count all the days you're going out somewhere, and then you go all of those underwear plus 2, and then you go all of those socks. You don't have to go as aggressive. You don't need daily on that, but you know, if you're going somewhere where you're going to be like, you can wear like no socks or something, you can go a little lighter on it. But you put a bunch of that shit in, and then you're like, well, I want some options. So then you start going for all your favorite gamer t-shirts, but you're like, oh no, what if no one catches my reference to Ultimate Chicken Horse or Dudley? I guess I should probably maybe bring some other options. And then you start cramming them in there, and then you're like, what do I do? It can't all fit, and it sucks. Well, Away, you don't have to worry about that, because they got the space-saving technology that crams all your bootleg fighting game t-shirts into short, small space so that you can fit everything else that matters in there. And you know, and sometimes you're like, I need to pack at least, what if there's like a formal like dress area or something where someone goes out for a fancy dinner at some point.
Yeah, you don't need to just pack like, you know, a suit or, you know, formal attire. You also need to bring your backup shirts for if you need to puke inside them to save the formal event that you're at.
Just in case something goes wrong. So that's
Just
always there. You know, I know that Reggie's got to travel with the mask, you know, with the sleep apnea thing. So you
Reggie too? Yeah, good for him.
So you got to figure out all this space, and Away suitcases are the best way to do it. And of course, I use it to not only pack everything I need, including arcade sticks and all my clothes, but it always fits in the overhead compartment. It's always meant to go through whatever kind of little travel gate weight measuring thing they have at different airlines, and it's been there the entire time. I've also talked about the awesome battery it comes with. In fact, I have it literally plugged into my phone right here, right now. This is an Away charging battery that I have for my phone that just keeps it juiced up whenever you're traveling. You don't have to fight at the airport to get to one of the good seats with an outlet plug. So all that plus the dirty clothes bag that you can flip right out of the side of the suitcase. It's super handy. And as mentioned, they last a lifetime. There's a 100-day trial on everything they make. You can try it for 100 days to see if you like it. And if you don't, get a full refund. As we said, that's a lot of time for you to figure it out.
It's a while, man.
And free shipping and returns in the contiguous US, UK, Europe, and Canada. So yeah, start that 100-day free trial. Start that 100-day trial and shop the entire Away lineup of travel essentials, including their best-selling suitcases, at awaytravel.com/beast. That's awaytravel.com/beast. Thanks, Away.
Thanks, Away.
The podcast is also sponsored this week by Green Chef. And this is your meal plan solution. As someone who has gotten very strictly back on the real keto, this is the exact type of curation that's needed to make sure I'm not fucking around, you know? Because even when you avoid sugar sometimes, if you're doing it dirty, if you're not counting, if you're not being diligent about your intake, then you're going to fuck up. And you might wake up like me and take a look at your blood sugar and be like, that's a bad number. So, yeah, keep an eye on whatever kind of healthy lifestyle eating you want to do with Green Chef. They got keto, paleo, plant-powered diets, if that's the way you want to go with it. And they've got, a regular, normal, balanced meals as well. Over 30 meal choices every week, picked out by expert chefs that can, get it shipped out to you. They're delicious. You don't have to worry too much about the prep time. As we know, it comes in pre-measured, set ingredients that are ready to go. Always with the freshness, and the ingredients are as they're delivered to your door. You're reducing food waste by at least 25% with their pre-portioned meals. They're the #1 meal kit for eating well, so check them out. Go to greenchef.com/superbeast125 and use code superbeast125 to get $125 off, including free shipping. That's greenchef.com/superbeast125 with code superbeast125 to get $125 off, including free shipping. Thank you very much, Green Chef.
Thanks, Green Chef.
Couple stories.
Luckily, nothing happened this week.
Unfortunately,
Definitely nothing bad.
Unfortunately, a couple things did happen. Some people moved around, and some people left some places. So let's start out with Nagoshi and Daisuke Sato have both left RGG Studio and SEGA.
Oh no!
They're going to continue the franchise. They'll take it in whatever direction they are planning for Like a Dragon 2. But as of last week, the heads of this game, the lead designer and head producer, are both on the way out.
They're going to China.
I wonder if they got poached together as a thing, or if
probably,
right? Because it sounds everything. I mean, it's all surface level, so it's hard to say. It sounds amicable from the letters, but again, you never really expect to hear the dirt if something did go down. But I would imagine that wherever they haven't announced where they're going, but if they both end up being at some other place together, then it's oh yeah, they got poached, or they're making their own thing.
I wonder if this means Nagoshi will regenerate back into a normal human.
Either that, or he has left the industry to go start his own family.
Yeah, maybe.
The Nagoshi clan starts now. Maybe he's just going full in. His back tattoo is now complete. It's been in the making for years.
Obviously, this is a hit to the RGG studios. Those guys have been around forever, and Nagoshi is essentially the creator of the series. But most of the staff on those games have made 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not all too worried about the overall future of that series.
And not to be reductionist, but there is a fucking ass formula that can be followed.
All right. Let's go. Hey! Why are you robbing these old people? I'm not. I'll kill you. I only rob these old people because my parents are old and they were not very good to me. But now I see that I was wrong. And maybe I should go work at an old people's place. Wow, thanks, man. Okay, bye.
Hey, that guy wasn't so bad. Guitar strum. Side quest complete.
Yeah. So that's the side quest. As for the actual main narratives, those tend to be written by crime novelists. So I'm not super worried. People have noticed that the guy who is now going to be in charge of the series is going to be the guy that was in charge of, I think, Yakuza 4, which might have had the most absurd story the series have ever had. To which I say, yeah, bring it on, more rubber bullets.
Lean into the madness.
Why not?
So the fact that he went from Super Monkey Ball director with hopes and dreams and fun and little poofy hair into the hardened, white, toothed, big tanned Yakuza dude that we see makes me want to see
ladies on his arm in the throne.
Now here's the thing. It's too bad and it's too late. But that's the guy who on the way out should have directed one more Monkey Ball. With what he's learned now. And give him full free reign. You know? Mask off. Take that guy and have him revisit his first series and see what we get. That would have been the real move. But yeah, there they go. And again.
Man, Judgment is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that side series is dead. Like, man.
Hit by a car, license plate said Johnny's. That was it. Done and done.
Man.
I mean, again, like, it's just, it's sad for the actor, you know? Like, that was a cool tie-in thing. But tie-in things always end in tragedy in some way, you know?
You know, it's very telling that Ichiban and Kiryu are, like, not based off of real actors. Whereas tons of their, you know, compatriots and villains are.
Yeah, I bet you that if Capcom could go back in time, they would have put Soki in Onimusha 1 and just made some original shit instead of tying it in with Samanosuke. You know, like, the legal troubles and things that happen are always a nightmare 1 year later.
So, like, Onimusha 1 and 3 is pretty bad, but, like, nothing's gonna top the nonsense of casting in Onimusha 2, where they cast an actor who had already died. They negotiated with the estate to use his likeness for Onimusha 2. And, like, they're never gonna get that again! What are you, crazy?
And just like, or just like, Jean Reno's character is popular. What the fuck do we do now? Like, yeah. Anyway, so too bad for Judgment. Whatever, like, long live whatever comes next.
Very dead.
The other thing that happened is that the producer of Bloodborne, Masaaki Yamagiwa, has joined Team Ninja.
Oh,
now,
that's cool.
Yeah, cool little get right there. Now, it's noted that he's the Bloodborne producer, but also, more specifically, and dare I say more importantly, he designed Sonic Rush as well as the daytime levels of Sonic Unleashed. That distinction is very important.
The non-werehog levels, yes.
The not werehog levels were designed by this guy, as well as Sonic Rush. So exactly, that's exact.
Okay,
That's a good get. It's very specifically noted that he did those half of the levels. He had that that added to his credits. Yeah, I don't know. Team Ninjas, what are they? They just got Strangers of Paradise, right? That's the only thing.
Yeah, that's what they're working on.
Going on right now. Okay, so we'll see how it shapes up on that. Other little thing, and this is more of just a little personal story here, because it's obviously a little close to the chest, but some news came out this week about Eidos-Montreal and Eidos-Sherbrooke are switching to the 4-day work week.
I saw that. That's pretty crazy.
That's pretty cool. That's nice to see. And they had a little bit of a description about like the intention to not necessarily cram the 5th day of work into the previous 4.
Yeah.
It's more about changing the structure so that they don't waste time on like other things, like meetings that used to be an hour can now just be half an hour and be more to the point, you know, and trying to shave off time and other things. But that's a really cool move. I know that, you know, again, having been there before, like there's some pretty good treatment of employees in a lot of ways where they are like, allowing people to kind of, you know, take time when needed and come in on you know, their own volition in some cases, as long as you know, every 2 weeks you got the job done, then, you know, I know they've been good about that. What I do also have to assume is the case, because I think I heard mention of this, and it's the way the studio is built, is that the QA department, however, I don't think gets to benefit from this, because they are directly owned by Square Enix.
They're also scum.
And though they sit in the same office and work next to everybody, they're not a part of the Eidos-Montreal team. They're the Square Enix Europe team, so they follow those rules and answer to them instead.
So what you're saying is that Fridays are going to be very discontented?
Very salty Fridays are coming. Not that they weren't already in some cases, but I remember, like, sometimes it'd be like, oh man, a bunch of people just didn't come in because they, you know, they finished their work and they're going to show up maybe on Sunday or something. But like, now it's like everyone's in QA and no one else is in the office, and fuck you, too bad, you know? Plus, on top of that, Fridays used to be, or I don't know what's going on now, right? But at the time I was there was a Friday 5 p.m. we're opening the beer fridge policy.
Yeah.
So that after 5, everyone could go get a beer, chill out, you know, be social and hang. And it'd be a nice mixing of all the departments together. But nowadays, I don't know if that's going to either happen on Thursdays or if it's going to be lonely QA getting the beer fridge to themselves. Tough to say, you know, but...
Well, you know, this is a genuinely good step forward, and I really hope that Eidos-Montreal and Eidos-Sherbrooke have a lot of great success with the upcoming seasons of Marvel's Avengers and the upcoming hot new release Guardians of the Galaxy, which I'm sure the success of which will not reflect upon this new company-wide labor distribution.
Well, this went into effect, I think, after those games were already
I'm sure
in a state.
that there's no way that the possible failure of these games could possibly interact with the future of the 4-day work week at these companies.
As far as I understand, the 4-day work week was not implemented during the development, seeing as these games are already on their way. But
I'm sure everyone in charge of that is aware of that and will be thinking of that the next time they talk to the team.
Guys, we're reverting to the 6-day work week. Wait, what?
So Guardians didn't sell, so we're back on 8 days. Like the Beatles song.
Not the second part about loving you, though.
No, not that part.
Hey, I hope that Squeenix will allow the QA the dignity of getting the same, you know, the same types of scheduling and the same benefits. And I know that they're looked down upon, and I know it's seen as a, you know, a whatever entry-level position, and I know that people fucking just naturally have that, like, I'm going to clothespin my nose walking through this area because, ooh, the stinky QAs are here. But it would be nice to let those hard workers get some of that as well, because it's a good initiative.
I'd like a goose that poops gold.
It's a good initiative. I'm surprised to see the initiative come out at all. I'm surprised this is new. This is a thing that anyone's trying. And I think the whole team deserves it. So that'd be nice.
I have to think that
I hear you, but I also never would have thought that it would be a thing at all. You know,
I have to think that progression on FF16 and the new 14 expansion look good, and Yoshi P has been adamant about having a 30-hour work week for his team for many years now. That, like, maybe that rippled out across the company a little.
Nintendo started it?
No, Yoshi P.
Did he? Okay. Well,
the FF14 devs work 5 days a week, but they are at a mandatory 6 hours, and then you are forced to leave.
Okay. There was a story not long ago about Nintendo implementing, forced caps on work hours each week as well. I want to say it was last year sometime, and apparently that was a thing that they had been working under for a while now. That like people were like, "Oh shit, yeah, they're trying to completely get rid of the karoshi problem," you know, which is for a Japan studio that's fucking insanely more surprising than it is for one from America.
One of the reasons it got instituted over at the Square Enix team for 14 was because of like how hard Yoshi P crunched those people fixing A Realm Reborn, like after the 1.0, where they were like he was like micromanaging down people down to 15-minute increments on every single day. And for like 18 months, and he described that this is the worst way to make a game. I will never make another game like this ever again. And then the 6-hour thing goes into practice. And then so when they say stuff like the team spent extra time making this feature, right? That's usually code for people stayed late. What they actually mean is, like for Blue Mage, people literally would have finished all of their work and have 2 hours left in the day once a week. So they spent it on Blue Mage, or they spent it on making the models for the bunnies, or what have you.
Man, when you're like 15-minute intervals of micromanage, like I just... God,
for
that
the
makes
whole
my
team.
Fucking skin crawl. Yeah, and like
he had like massive spreadsheets and would analyze them to figure out who would be faster on what tasks and would reassign people constantly.
And it's just like there's so many things that happen when you're making a game that are not as that the progress is not as immediately visible as it is for others. So like when an artist is working on an asset, you can walk over and look and go, oh, that chair is half done. It ain't done yet, right? And when the music guy's making the theme for the level, you go, all right, here's where the song is at. It ain't done yet. But there's a lot of times when you're like with coding, for example, where it's just like there's multiple different background things that need addressing, and there's no way of really quantifying, like, you know, the difficulty and the time it takes on some of these tasks, which is why they report on them and you see them in the database and it says, yeah, I fixed an issue here, or I implemented this on the build and it took about this long to do, and you just got to stare at it and then they go, yeah, that seems about the right amount of time, but what if you could do it faster though? You know? And it's like, no, it was hard to figure this out. I can't. And it's like, but what if you could? You know? And you're like, and it's just like, it's not as visible as like some of the other creative tasks, so you get that kind of treatment.
There's also like a mandatory vacation after expansions launch. Like there's always like the first big patch always takes like a month or two extra to come out because they're like, no, stop working. You guys had like, you know, the sprint to the finish for the expansion. Like, get out of here. It makes sense that somebody that can parse at the 94th percentile for Black Mage would be an excellent micromanager. But I wonder what that dude's schedule is like working on 14 and 16 simultaneously.
Was that his skill level in the game playing it?
Yeah, people have dug up the fact that dude parses in the 94th top percentile for like some of the hardest raids in the game as Black Mage, which is the hardest but best class to get at the super high percentile. So dude crushes it at micromanaging specific to the second numbers.
That's always a vote of confidence you want to hear. You know, you want to know that Sakurai is good at Smash. You want to know that, yeah, the person making
Sakurai's
it can also
so good at Smash, he's disintegrating before your very eyes.
Oh yeah, no, he put the poster up for Sora, and then he waved, and then he turned into dust.
So the whole time I was watching the Sora thing, all I could think of is at the end of this, I hope he waves and just fades away.
Full on, like I don't feel good.
In the future.
Yeah, no, like Endgame, you know, just it'll reconnect and suddenly everything will be okay. Anyway, so as I was saying, yeah, Sora makes perfect sense. That's a big closer. That's also, from the way he implied, that was probably the most difficult deal they could have gotten, working with Disney, working with Squeenix, working with the whole thing. Like Kingdom Hearts is not an easy get to throw into something like Smash.
Just look at all the wonderful Disney characters that are going to be showing up alongside Sora, such as Noah.
No. And, you know, Sakurai also introduced him and went, hey, look, he's a normal, regular, simple Smash character, because we know some of you guys have been scared of these fighting Game Boys. You know, the Kazuyas and the Terry Bogards were a bit of a shock to some people who were not ready for those inputs. So Sora's got a down B counter, an up B lift, and some side B teleports, and he's got a little projectile, and he's good. He's simple, you know? It all makes sense. What I liked is when they summarized all the work that went in at the end, when they're like, this game now has 89 characters, over 1,000 songs, 150 stages. Like they put the fucking numbers down for you. It has
many items of content.
Yes. So don't ask for shit. Appreciate this from now on, even though we're still gonna ask for rollback because, you know, add some netcode, please. Give a fuck
maybe
about
on the next one.
Keep porting it, but yeah. I've said this idea on this podcast before, but the next one it can't be Smash Ultimate. It can't be Smash anymore. It's got to be a new thing, you know?
No, it doesn't. Just bring everyone back again.
You can port Ultimate forever, but if you're not going to do a new port of it, you got to do something new, you know? Something that's new enough that nobody's going to question why everyone didn't come back. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm hoping.
Hey, here's what they can do to make it so that I won't question why everyone didn't come back. Nothing. It's a series that's built its cachet on having a big roster of lots of characters. They should all be there.
I mean, what else they could do is literally just end it, but that'll never happen, and we know that. Anyone who thinks they will actually put the franchise down is silly. Like, it's gonna take a couple years. It's gonna sit with this Ultimate State for a while, and there's gonna be a new disc version, but there's no way that they'll say goodbye to this IP. It's gonna have to come back in some way, shape, and form, and I hope that Sakurai can rest and not have to deal with it. Let someone else take over, and let a new style of game be the, like, build up to see who gets included, and be the new video game Oscars.
It's going to be wild when they make a new type of Smash game and they bring back all 89 characters. Because they have to.
Yeah, no. Not even.
By the way, I want to point out, we had this exact same discussion about Brawl.
Yeah.
Like, identical to this.
I'm looking at it, and it's like, if they do that, then that'd be incredible and amazing, and everyone would be happy. But it also seems like an impossible mountain to climb. Maybe they'll climb it. I see more likely a situation where they either just leave it at Ultimate and then keep porting Ultimate for a while, and then eventually when they're like time to make some Smash money again, they just go let's see how to reinvent this franchise in some way, and then it can still lead to 89 characters, but at least they get the chance to build up from something new and take their time.
Here's what they should do. They should port Ultimate and put rollback in it, and that should be the next Smash game.
Yeah, agreed.
And add like 2 new guys.
just more guys. Just keep throwing more. Yeah.
That's what that game is! That game is more guys, the video game.
They made it sound like Sora was the end. Maybe they lied, but he made it sound
Pack 2.
He made it sound like this was some sort of like, denouement.
Well, I don't see Master Chief on that list, so time for more guys.
No Xbox mascot on the list. That's correct. Doom guy showing up as a fucking costume consolation prize is clearer than day that they're like, we heard you guys. Here's Gino. Here's Dante. Here's Doom guy. They'd never looked at them twice if not for the amount of people asking.
They already have the rights to those characters. So next one, just take all the Mii characters and make them full characters. Bam, done.
Anyway, I said what I said, and that's the take, and you can throw whatever wild shit you want on top of that.
I agree with the guy in the chat that says that they need to add 12 more characters so that they can have a 101st character, and it can be Red.
It can be Red.
That one.
Fine, I'll take that too. I can accept that. Give me my fucking unicorn and my jetpack, but I'll take that game where Red comes in as the 101st. Damn, that'd be fucking sick. Anyway, more along the lines of your PS3 and your Vita really not being things that Sony wants you to use anymore.
Don't use them.
You can no longer add your credit or debit cards or PayPal payments to those consoles to buy things with them. So the only way to buy stuff now would be to use either go to the site directly on your computer or your phone, or go to your PS4 or your PS5 and top up your account with credit that way, or get a card, a top-up card. But like, there's no more purchasing and adding money to your wallet directly through the PS3 or the Vita. So they're not, they went against the shutdown because of the clapback from everybody. But they're really slowly trying to usher you out of the store. They've turned off the lights in every second aisle. They've started walking towards the front.
There's a guy standing at the front, and the gate is half closed, so you can technically get in.
The gate's coming down.
He kind of glares at you a little bit.
There's only one cashier left. The others are already carrying their boxes. Security's giving you the eyeball, Everything's locking up. Come on. Yeah. They're trying. Meanwhile, over at Microsoft, this is a little small story, and I thought it was interesting because I've done this before. You okay?
I don't know why, but my brain just exploded with more like Macro Shaft.
It's good.
We got nothing. Got nothing for this.
Yeah. Old internet jokes about micro hard were a thing.
So stupid.
Yep. Anyway, so they are apparently they're considering something called right to repair after being pushed and pressured from some shareholders. So there's a shareholder adversary. Adversary. There's a shareholder advocacy group called As You Sow that basically is pushing them towards the environmental and social benefits of making device repair easier, so that consumers can repair their own tech. And
yeah, Apple's been fighting against this for decades.
So they would love to have you mail in your shit if something breaks, so that either A, they have to fix it for you and charge you an arm and a leg, or B, you go buy a new one and throw the old one out, so you get that planned obsolescence feeling without being legally responsible. But so this group is essentially pushing for them to make it so that, yeah, controllers and consoles and other things can be repaired by, you know, individuals, and thus reduce on e-waste and the overall carbon footprint and such. But initially, I mean, that's a great reason, but it's also just a consumer friendly thing to be able to allow someone to open up a controller with a screwdriver and see what the fuck is going wrong with it. Because as someone who's done that, like for Dreamcasts and for some other shit, as well as having sent off my Game Boy Colors to Nintendo and sent off my Xboxes to Microsoft, I would much rather be able to tinker around and get shit working if I just need a small replacement part, you know, or a quick little thing I can get online.
Like, imagine you're a farmer and you got a John Deere tractor and your tractor breaks and you're about to open it up to fix your tractor, and the fucking computer inside says, "Go fuck yourself, dude. You gotta get a certified John Deere technician out here to repair this thing. Make a goddamn fucking appointment. It'll take 6 weeks for them to come out here and not fix it." So you download sketch-ass Ukrainian firmware on your tractor.
And next thing you know, you're getting launched out of your tractor in front of it, and then it keeps rolling, and there you go.
Yeah, and while it's doing that, it's mining bitcoins.
I would love it if this were the case, and it sounds like they're being pressured into doing it, and we know, like, based on like exactly like things like Apple and every company doesn't want to give you this freedom. It's just way more profitable to encourage you to just toss it in the trash and buy a new one. But I can tell you firsthand that it is not a hard thing to do to fix a controller, or in some cases to fix a console that's having hardware issues. Sometimes it's like, you know, replacing a simple part. These days, if you can fix your own computer, you can fix a fucking console.
Current iPhones, I was looking at something, have like all sorts of shit inside them where if you try to open them up, they just destroy themselves.
Yeah. No, there's tons of, like, I mean, there's warranty stickers and shit, but past that, there's basically like suiciding boards, you know, and you can't just like go for it with even if you go through all the trouble of getting the weird screws, and they've gotten some fucking weird screws these days, man. Before, when you wanted to get weird, you'd put an Allen key in something and be like,
that's crazy.
It ain't a Phillips, too bad, you know? Yeah. Now they got some fucking weird ass trihexes and spiral locks and just absolute do not enter, strip your goddamn device before you get inside this thing, you know? Terrible. Fucking.
I remember, God, what is it? Is it what's the recent stupid piece of shit streaming box? Stadia. Those fucking controllers are glued together. There's no way to open them without actually just completely destroying them.
There's no screws?
They're glued.
You know, heat that shit up. You know, get a little hot plate over it and pry it open. Yeah. No, you can fix things up as far as to like even like soldering contacts if they get loose. It's a very learnable thing, and people, you know, can also in the days of YouTube now can just look shit up and learn. So like I hope this gets pressured into
it would be nice
a thing, and I hope that they also pressure Sony and Nintendo into it because, yeah, there's no reason for this anti-consumer type of thing that's already become the norm to stay that way. So keep an eye on the right to repair. All right, now there's
be able to fix it.
Couple other quick things that dropped. One, did you see the trailer for the Shenmue anime?
No. Who cares?
So guess what?
What?
It's actually pretty alright.
Okay. Does it have such atrocious acting?
No, the Shenmue trailer looks alright. I'm dead serious. It looks like it might be like the best Shenmue related thing to exist.
Is this where chapters fucking 4 through 12 are gonna come from?
If so, this will be the definitive way to consume the Shenmue story.
Which is by never, ever actually having to play Shenmue.
Dodge it as hard as you want to. But yeah, this is it's Crunchyroll, Adult Swim, and it's being worked on. Who was it? It's Yu Suzuki is working with who the fuck was it? Someone who worked on something else. Anyway, yeah, no, I checked the trailer out. It looks all right, and it looks like a lot of the time wasted on like the training and the 100-man battle and all that shit is gonna be like summarized into single episodes. It might actually get to the fucking end of the story. One Punch Man director.
I think Shenmue might be the shittiest thing that I know the most people who care about. Like every time I've talked to somebody about Shenmue and they're like, "Oh, it's so great." I'm like, "This game looks like shit." Like, "No, you don't understand. It's so ahead of the top. Oh my god. Oh." And you're like, "Nah, it seems like garbage."
I mean, there's some you say that, but there's some stuff I can think of, but the difference is that those fans would fight wars versus Shenmue fans are not going to fight wars to defend Shenmue. I have never consumed any Fate, so I can't say anything about it. But I do know that those fans would go to war in defense of Fate.
I'm stealing this joke from a guy in the chat. Thanks for your joke that I'm stealing, not Soy. But I can't wait for this anime to come out, and in about 2-3 years, a dramatically superior Yakuza anime series will come out that's very similar, but will actually finish itself and go on to spawn a long series of anime.
That would be fucking chef's kiss. That would be beautiful. But no, I bring it up and I throw this out here because the trailer for this looks like, yeah, okay, no, that looks like a solid anime, you know? And the parts that I know that are boring and lame that are Shenmue related, like there is a chance that they can just steamroll right past that shit. And if they do, this might be something interesting. We'll have to see. But I was quite surprised at that. The competence of that, you know. If they keep the script the same, it's probably going to still be shit, but like maybe chapters 5 through 16 go places. Maybe Landy's ending is actually compelling in some way. Who the fuck knows?
I don't know.
Yeah. You know, a whole episode dedicated to Lucky Hit, maybe. I'm hoping 2 episodes make
I want a whole episode devoted to, do you speak the language of Chinese?
Like, the way the trailer looks, if the pacing makes it so that this thing is like, yo, 2 episodes and we're done Shenmue 1, you know? 2 episodes and we're in China at the end of Shenmue 2, like, then you got a fix. You got a fix in place.
Oh, you're high on crack.
Oh yeah.
There's no way.
Oh,
There's
I don't. I you know.
Like, it's gonna be 18 episodes of forklift racing.
It would be. Even if it was that, this would still be the definitive way to watch and experience the Shenmue story.
You're right. Oh, you're right. Oh man.
No matter what.
Oh fuck.
No matter what.
Oh.
Anyway, so there's that. They also dropped a trailer for the new Dragon Ball movie, Superhero.
Wow, it looks like shit.
It's 3D entirely.
Wow.
So I gotta say that my expectations of 3D anime at this point, it's never gonna land in the same way that a budgeted Pixar movie is gonna land. All right,
I would say that's accurate.
You just have to throw that entire hope of you know, or that entire reality out. It will never be that. They won't spend that. They're not gonna do that. They're not there. So what you get instead is this kind of this stilted look, and the new trailer has some sequences where Goku is moving in a way that looks pretty smooth. But then there are also sequences where you see, I think it's Gamma number 2, one of the new characters, talking, and it's like, and that's the bad anime CG that we've seen and that we're used to. And it seems like there's some shit that's going to work and some shit that's not. I don't know if Broly movie was the peak of what they could achieve in terms of 2D, but it was
Broly
fucking
movie
incredible.
Has 3D in it.
It hybrids.
Yeah.
This doesn't look hybrid as much as it looks like they're fully embracing 3D.
So
I don't know if it's gonna get better before it comes out compared to what we see in this trailer. That's a very possible thing. These shots could get better, as CG sometimes does from the trailer to the thing. But what we're seeing in some of the action is that it's smooth moving action, but some of the conversational stuff looks pretty stiff. And that's the anime stiff CG stuff that you see, and I go, I wish they can get over that. I don't expect they will, but I really wish they could.
I agree with you that comparing it to like a Lupin the First or something like that, right? Like, that's not all that fair considering the budget considerations. But I would have expected it to look better than the last 5 Dragon Ball video games.
There's that.
It looks noticeably worse than every modern Dragon Ball video game.
So
other than Xenoverse.
I think it's because I think they're lighting it differently, and they're making it not look like the games, for example, like Fighters obviously is going for a look that emulates the art and emulates the cell shaded style and emulates the 2D. Here they're trying to actually smooth things out and shade things in a way that looks a little less flat. You know, and I think that's probably what you're seeing. In any case, I
don't want to sound like an asshole, and I totally agree with what you're saying, but all of that translates into you saying, I think they're going for a way that looks bad compared to this other way that looks much
good.
Better.
Yeah, sure.
I look at a feature film that's going to release in a theater, and I look at a goddamn video game, and the video game looks better. That's fucking stupid. Like, imagine if the Avatar James Cameron video game had better CG than the film.
So yeah, we're probably seeing a test the waters and if this works out, we can do 3D Dragon Ball from here, moving forward, type of experiment. And well, no, I mean let's keep it real. Like, this is the choice they're making because this is probably the affordable one at this point. I imagine this is way cheaper to make than the Broly movie. You know?
I mean, my gut on this is that they're like, man, these motherfuckers will watch anything if it's got the Goku in it. They will. So just dump it out there. Just do it. True. Fuck it. Who gives a shit? Who gives a single shit? I think there's one part of the trailer. It's got the Piccolo too. There's one part of the trailer that makes me laugh like the hardest, which is there's the shot of them in the car, which looks unbelievable. Like it's real rough of them talking in the car and the car's panning. But it's the shot where there's the dude in a red suit standing in front of like a vertical TV. And it's showing off, like, the Z Fighters. It shows a picture of Vegeta, and it shows a picture of Boo, and it shows a picture of Piccolo, right? And those are, like, their key art from, like, old seasons or old show. Like, it's clearly 2D. And, like, the difference in quality of, like, the Vegeta with the pink shirt on and the real character standing next to him is stark. Like, the TV photo looks incredible compared to the actual human standing in there, and it's a bad comparison.
So something I remember is that there was a thread that an animator discussed the reasons behind, for example, Shitty Berserk and the way it looks, and then there was other anime that try to go hybrid 3D 2D, and why you have to drop the frame rate drastically on the 3D so that it doesn't look super weird next to shit that's moving at 24 frames per second or less. And that, you know, and so that is like, there's technical explanations behind this, certainly. If you are going to have, you know, 2D stuff that's integrated and such, but I mean, the way I kind of look at it, though, is just like, it's a technical explanation that makes sense, but the end result still doesn't look good. The end result still is going to have, at best, what I'm going to call the Appleseed problem. Do you remember Appleseed, the 3D movie? Yeah. Like, still frame that sumbitch, and you're going to get beautiful composition, beautiful colors, and beautiful rendering. Any still from that movie is tight, but in motion, it's rough.
I don't know. I'm looking at the movie right now, and it didn't hold up super good in a lot of places.
All right, maybe that, you know, at the time, I was like, yo, this looks like they have really nice, like, you could still frame it. You know?
Here, I'll send you a fucking screenshot right now. These creepy looking old dudes, they look super good.
Yeah. Okay. So that, you know, that's the thing is I'm thinking that like even though the low frame rate is a solution to a hybrid technical problem, it makes sense why you have to do it, but it's not going to look good until you fully commit to just a full 3D render that, as you said, you've got Lupin and you've got the other unfair budget comparisons.
Yeah.
But that's, although if you don't commit to that, then it's just going to look like this, or it's going to look like you know, the way the Tachikomas looked in Standalone Complex, which again you can see like they're clearly missing tweening. You know, you can feel it in the way they move, and it's an otherwise beautiful show, but so yeah, save all the money you want going for this, but it's got to go the other way on it. You know, I would be really interested in seeing what a, you know, huge budget 3D Dragon Ball movie might look like, but this type of thing to replace the anime is I don't think this is going to land. Unless between the trailers and now they do what they did to the Hulk, from the Hulk trailer to the Hulk release.
Which There
was a MCU Hulk not Ang Lee, not fucking, not Ang Lee, and not Edward Norton. There was an MCU movie that had Hulk in a trailer that was just clearly unfinished, and then we saw the final one and we're like, okay, yeah, no, that works. I think it might have been Age of Ultron, or maybe I don't remember which one, but it was like, oh, that needs some time in the oven. You didn't have the time. Please put it back in, and then you're like, okay, final version, there it is. You know. Anyway, we got a couple other little things. One, they announced the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy definitive edition coming to everything.
Oh, and they're gonna delete your old. They're gonna delete the ability to buy the old versions. So if you care about the
digitally?
music in those games, fucking get them now.
So that was my question: is what about the music? What about the radio? You know,
as time goes on, they actually patch out the music.
Damn. Also, the PC
Sounds
version
like a good excuse to get on a boat.
The PC version of Grand Theft Auto 3 that I played, I was putting custom songs, custom playlists in.
Yeah.
And I could play my own music on the radio, and that was fucking awesome. I could also get into one of the sports cars and drive it so fast that it outran the draw distance of the game.
Nice!
So I was racing into the abyss.
Was that the Banshee?
I don't remember which one it was, but it was one of the fast cars, and it was like I was driving down one of the highways, and the city disappeared, and then you pan the camera backwards and see it trying to catch up with you, and it's one of the coolest things ever.
Oh, I love it. I love that. And then you crash.
Then you crash. You hit a wall eventually.
Because, I mean, you don't know where you're going.
No, not at all. But it was super cool to outrun the draw distance in a car in GTA 3. Love that shit. Yeah. I never actually went through like I only went through that first. I only played that first one. So it'd be interesting to see what's going on. Although, like, the music is always such a quintessential part of this shit.
Like, I really have to say, like, San Andreas and Vice City, like, the music, like, more than almost any other game I can think of, I would say, like, the music is, like, 50% of that game's experience.
But here's my wonder, is, like, they still have lots of access and use a lot of licensed music for the current games. Is there a possibility that though they don't have the same songs, they're going to have other licensed music that's still pretty sick, you know?
No, they're just gonna pull it. I'm literally telling you, they have patched songs out of Vice City and San Andreas like every year since.
So there's just less songs overall, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, can't have nice things. Licensed content in games is a problem, man.
Yeah, it sucks.
Whether you're a fucking Judgment dude, or Jean Reno, or you make a music, it's a whole other headache attached to the game that has got real life shit going on. And unlike a movie where it's like, well, it's committed, it's here, it's in the film, and that's all it'll ever be. When they re-release movies on Blu-ray, on DVD, or whatever, that shit's all still taken care of. Royalties are still doing what they're doing.
We got a comment in the chat who points out that, like, there's never going to be a re-release of Brutal Legend.
Yeah, that's done.
Like, never.
Get your old 360 out, or fuck it. That's over. Yeah.
To be fair, Brutal Legend is fucking mid as shit. Like, that game is a whopping, incredible 6 out of 10.
Could have been more. Could have been more. I really like Lemmy, and I thought he was cool, and I was glad he was there. But yeah.
I remember seeing an interview with Tim Schafer in which he described that the game was always supposed to be an RTS, and that it was the publisher that really pushed super hard to paint it as like an action game that was rock and roll and like more like Zelda. And that's unfortunate. And all I could think of is like, that is obviously true. That is obviously what happened. And I don't care, because that was a game I would have rather played.
Yes.
I would not have bought your RTS rock and roll game.
Like, that same skin.
Straight up.
That same skin over a regular ass action swing the sword around like adventure game would have been just fine. The commanding part didn't need to exist. Anyway, yeah, that's never happening again. No. But you know what? Neither is Bujin Guy.
That's right.
Also announced the Jedi Knight collection. Which part?
Like
all of it.
His voice.
What happened to his voice?
Did you not hear about that?
No.
He suddenly acquired a type of dysphonia that renders him almost unable to speak.
Oh, wow. Really?
Like he is done.
Well, I would say he was done somewhere around the time of the rape accusations, but
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Not great. Not great. So yeah, though.
All right, let's move on.
They also announced the Jedi Collection trilogy, which is not quite a trilogy, as much as it is 4 games that are, tangentially related.
That's not a trilogy.
Not at all, because it's not giving you Dark Forces 1 or 2.
Okay.
But you are getting Jedi Knight. Excuse me. Blah, blah, blah. Jedi Outcast, Jedi Academy, Racer, Episode 1, and Commando, a Republic Commando.
That's 4 games.
Yeah, Jedi Academy, good game. Jedi Outcast, good game. Episode 1 Racer, good game. Never played Republic Commando.
I heard it's like one of the best games that ever had the Star Wars license on it.
Really?
I've not personally played it, but people adore it.
Wow. Okay. It's because you're playing as the clones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Clone War stuff. Okay. Huh. Interesting. Well, again, the other 3 games on that list are fucking some of the solid.
Why don't they just call it a tetralogy?
Actually, I think I misspoke. It's just it's the Star Wars Jedi Knight collection.
Ah, you lied.
Yeah. So that also is coming to that's Switch and PS4. I had some good times with Episode 1 Racer, man.
It's good.
That was a fun ass racing game. It was like, that's the Episode 1 content we want.
It's better than the movie it's from.
Republic Commando, that's was that first person or third person?
Yep.
FPS?
Yep.
Okay.
It's like Rainbow Six. Like you tell the dudes to breach a door and then you shoot a bunch of Wookiees.
Oh yeah. Okay. Interesting. I remember seeing that cover with the Xbox on Xbox. I remember seeing that, but anyway, so yeah, that's dropping also this month. And then lastly over here, new trailer for House of the Dragon, the Game of Thrones spin-off, coming to HBO Max. Did you viddy well? Did you see it?
No.
Okay. Well, look. You see the trailer, you see a bunch of Targaryens, you see a bunch of, the name of the show is we're not even pretending to be like some kind of subtle, edgy, fantasy thing that is, gonna slowly integrate the fantasy. It's not House of the Dragon right away, bam, fuck you, this is some fantasy shit.
We're gonna look at that dragon and then I'm gonna bang my sister.
Here's yes, correct. Sister banging will be a central important plot point. So Tsukihime fans, this one's for you.
Part where this dude's gonna be like, I don't know, that girl looks pretty hot, and like the head of the household's gonna look at that dude and go, she's not even related to you. What are you, gay? And he's gonna be like, no. And he's like, now go make out with your sister on top of this dragon throne right now. And I'll be like, fine, whatever, Dad.
Battle sister wives are par for the course with the Targaryens. So this will be about that. Here's the thing. It's new show, spin-off, but there's two things about it that I've noted. One is it is based on the book Fire and Blood, which was written by George R.R. Martin, which came out 3 years ago. So it is based on his words and his script and his writing. So that's good thing one. And thing number two is D&D are not anywhere near this production.
I don't know, man. Like, this is the most extreme version of, yeah, but that's shit still over there, though.
It's hard. And make no mistake, this thing has to climb out of the gutter bit by bit to get back to being par. It has to prove itself. But the two things that would weigh it down the worst, being D&D and no actual script to go off of from George R.R. Martin, are not here. So it's a possibility.
It's conceivable.
But yes, I understand that the well is poisoned.
It's the worst version of this I've ever seen.
It is. And it's universal. Some people still watch and enjoy The Walking Dead, despite the fact that just about everyone I know agrees that it became terrible many seasons ago.
Like I think the absolute ultimate how do I put this? The ultimate hint that this is like in a bad spot to start, just from public perception, is that like I was scrolling down Twitter and I saw one guy post it and go, here's the Game of Thrones thing, and like no comments on it, and it was like all I had seen of that the entire week, and it's just like people are just like seeing this and their eye passes over it, and then they keep turning their head.
Like it's definitely gonna get like the people who loved the ending, who were just like, yeah, fuck that throne.
Oh man,
like those people are gonna love it. It'll probably be a highly HBO-ified version of things, because you got to get those titties out in the first 20 seconds or people are going to just lose attention. You got to do this, you got to do that, So you're going to see the HBO formula at its hardest as they try to recreate the phenomenon. But look, if it comes out and it ends up being like not seasons 1 or 2, but like 4 or even 5, it might land.
This means nothing to Pat. This means what are you? Oh yeah, sure.
5
season 4. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. 5 was the start of the downhilling.
Okay.
And then 6 to 7 were just the full on pants shit.
Yeah. All right.
The beautifully rendered horse.
Oh,
beautifully rendered horse.
Okay. Yeah.
Is 1 to 4.
Yeah, okay, good.
1 to 4 is the beautiful horse. Anyway, unless the book was shit anyway, in which case, I don't know.
No!
It's hopeless. Yeah. Anyway, this has been another fucking episode of Wooly says he hopes for the best, and Pat says no fucking way, and that's just...
I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying this has like the most unbelievable hill to climb ever.
It does. I
think we're both saying that.
But no. This is no. But I just there's been a very clear glass half full and half empty approach to many a story this week. God
like,
bless.
You're gonna see this conversation hopefully repeat itself, which people go, wow, the new House of Dragon thing, it's really good. It reminds me very strongly of those first couple of seasons. I'm really enjoying it. And then their friend is gonna go, I don't know, man. I don't know about Game of Thrones anymore. Like that's what I see in this show's future.
I'm going to see how I feel when it comes out. I can definitely give it the once over to see if it has anything to say, you know? And the reason why is because after all that, like, anger and just frustration at the turbo fumble, the gigabotch, right?
Yeah.
I still was sitting there with Punchwife, and we would just click on a thing, and it's like, here's a collection of Tywin's best moments. And it's just everything that Charles Dance does in that show, and you go, oh, it was so good. Or Bobby B.
For you, Wooly.
You get to watch the fucking Baratheon compilation, and you're like, damn it, he was so fucking good.
I have something for you, Wooly, to keep in your mind as you watch this first couple episodes, which is the one thing that you like. We had that long talk about the Game of Thrones ending, but there's one thing that jumps out at me super strongly, even though it's not that important in the grand scheme of thing. I want you to keep firm in your mind as you are watching how many times characters teleport from location to location.
Yes. Exactly.
Because to me, that's like a minor detail, but it's symptomatic of all the larger problems, in which it's like, okay, so they're in King's Landing, and the next scene is them 400 miles away 5 days later. It's like, okay, yeah, all right, okay.
Alternatively, you have the episodes where there's only a few of them where they had literally nowhere else to go or nothing to cut to. So they have these big dramatic conversations and then slowly fade into the sky, only to fade into the same group of people walking in the same location. like shit that I haven't seen since the first Suicide Squad movie. Dude, like, awful.
Books don't even do that. That would be the end of a chapter and you change perspective to somebody else.
Just fade to the sky and back to we're still walking.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see whether this lands or not. I'll give it the once over because those old scenes, they still get me, man. And if there's any of that juice in there, then
I mean, I only watched the first season, but I still remember Tywin like butchering a deer and just talking shit.
Tywin and fucking Bobby, man. That's the energy. If you get that kind of energy going, then like I'm in there. And if I see a coffee cup in the opening fucking sequence,
yeah, it's like, we fly dragons in this house. Hold on, I need my Starbucks.
I'm out.
Yes.
All right, let's take some letters.
Hey, if you want to send in a letter, go and send it to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. We might read it on the air if it's a good question that makes us talk about something interesting.
For example, we got one coming in from Carlos, who says, hello, Bourgeoisie Wooly and Proletariat Pat. Something no one seems to know is that one major publisher that regularly uses rollback discreetly without ever announcing it is Nintendo, actually. They use rollback for both ARMS and the SNES Online app. Speaking direct from personal experience, they work great with a USB adapter for the Ethernet.
That's cool.
Knowing that, you're probably frustrated thinking to yourself, why does ARMS get rollback but not Smash? Like I did, Smash Ultimate Modder explained to me that it's much dumber than you can imagine. So the reason why Ultimate can't have rollback is because Belmont's chain. Unlike everything else in the game, or most games for that matter, the dangling chain move and the game checks the input for that 4 times per frame instead of just once, essentially quadrupling the load on the rollback netcode and making it unworkable. The devs decided that this one the fluidity of this one useless chain move was more important than the stable online. Now,
yes, take that out.
Now, that sounds like some internet guy talking shit-ism vibes here. So I'm taking this...
Now that you've read the email, it's true.
I'm taking this with
this podcast as a source.
Biggest grain of salt. But if there is an ounce of truth to this, which is that if someone that's a modder is looking at the game and can see that is one aspect of the game that is more taxing than everything else, that's fucking stupid, and that should change so that they can actually fix the netcode.
Yep.
It sounds to me like that would make a problem if they did try, but I'm not going to say that they looked and said, we want to, but we have to choose between this move or decent fucking netcode. So, I'll take that as with a grain of salt and say, like, I believe that could be a side issue. That's some wild shit, though. That move has an extra taxing property compared to everything else.
Dude, that move sucks in Castlevania.
Like it's like, dude, I don't know. Does anyone that plays Belmont use it like in a serious match? Like, is it a thing? Didn't Sakurai say we had to work hard to get this move working in the introduction? Well, anyway.
Sorry.
Here we got one coming in from Benno. He says, "Hello, Parasocial Relationships 1 and 2. As you may or may not know, Amazon is working on an adaptation of Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time series.
I am aware of this.
Spending almost $100 million, and it's premiering this November. I'm a huge fan of the series, having spent the last 10 months reading it. It's really fucking long. It's also really fucking good. Seeing the recent trailer and posters they're releasing, however, I'm filled with a sense of dread about the quality of the adaptation. They've already announced major characters from being recast for Season 2 before the show is even out."
Oh, man. That's...
So,
okay.
Yeah. And this reminds me of the upcoming live-action Cowboy Bebop and stuff. So I was discussing this with my friends, came to the conclusion that I would be happy if it's either great or terrible. If it's great, then it's great. If it's terrible, more people get in. If it's terrible, then we can clown on it. But if it ends up being somewhere in between, I think I'll let the despair into my heart.
Oh,
so what? Good. Yeah. What are some of the worst or murderous adaptations that are middling that you're anxious about? I mean, you mentioned Cowboy Bebop, and I think that's the one on everyone's mind right now.
I think that's going to be fine, I guess.
It might be fine, I guess. It might be, might be mid, might be... Yeah. By the way, this is officially the episode where mid has become lingo.
It's funny because I've said it like once every 2 months prior to this. Mm-hmm. I forget. I called something mid like 6 months ago, and I really, really meant it. But we used it consecutively in one show until today.
Well, because I say middling,
But, I mean, that's where it comes from, right?
Yeah. So that's what's up. Big Cowboy Bebop anxiety on that. God, I don't know what the fuck the Gundam movie's gonna be. I don't know. There's ways to do it all right. There's ways to fuck it up. There's a million things that could happen there. And I think Chris Pratt confirmed that, like, his normal voice is Mario.
No.
Was that a fake quote?
He confirmed the opposite.
Because I saw...
He's been working very, very hard on the Mario voice.
Okay, hold on. I saw a quote, and it said, Mario won't be having the Italian accent anymore. It'll be my normal speaking voice. He's not Italian anymore. He's normal now.
Yeah, that's not real, Wooly. Did you not hear yourself say that out loud just now?
Yeah, but I wanted to say it.
Yeah, I know how.
Anyway, yeah, who knows, man. All right. Let's plug and get out of here.
All right, go to twitch.tv/PatStares at 7 o'clock on weekdays.
Tune in on Tuesday if you want to catch the rest of Metroid Dread on Wooly Versus, as well as the conclusion of Raido versus the Soulless Army on Thursday this week. And yeah, some fighting games happening on Saturday. Check my Twitter for the schedule. That'll be that.
And hey, before we leave, don't forget Koichi Sugiyama is fucking dead. Have a good week, everybody.
Oh, that's the guy that, yeah.
Yeah, fuck that bitch.
Didn't he spend, like, his fortune on, like, what?
Yeah, he did. He fucking totally did.
That's a piece of shit you can dig into for a while, folks. Have a good one.